What's going on, everybody? TRAE4PAY back in the building. Just wanted to record a quick intro to say thank you guys so much for all the support. Usually I don't put an intro in front of these. I just try to have like a natural progression into the next video. But I do want to come to you guys and say thank you for explaining all this stuff in the comments section. Thank you to all you guys for sticking with me. I know these videos are super long, so I'm glad that you guys still enjoy it, and I'm still enjoying it. And I also wanted to say thank you to Sharon and Caitlin for the Buy Me a Coffee donation that you guys did. That was really nice of you. You didn't have to do that. You know, I don't tell anybody that they need to send anything, but I really do appreciate that. That was very kind of you. And thank you guys too for the prayers and well wishes about my neck and everything. It feels normal again. That stuff happens sometimes, like every few months, so I just got to get some rest and then it comes back. I don't want to make this intro too long. So we will go ahead and get started with part 2 of day 4 of the Darrell Brooks trial.
No further questions, thank you.
All right, thank you. You may step down. All right, you may call your next witness.
Today we call Josh Crater.
Next witness.
All right, good morning, sir. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is up a riser to my right. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
I think I am going to stop like Googling them in
You solemnly
advance.
swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated.
You know, I'll only like take in the information that I get from you guys in the comments and stuff.
The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each, please.
Joshua Craner, Joshua, Craner, Kraner.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm going to direct your attention to November 21st of last year, 2021. Were you at the City of Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yes, I was.
And were you a participant or a spectator?
Participant.
And what group were you with?
The Waukesha Blazers.
And what was your affiliation with the Waukesha Blazers?
I'm a head coach of the Slammers, which was at the time a 9U baseball team.
Okay. How long had you been involved with the Blazers?
Just a couple months.
Did you have any children that were part of the Blazers program?
Yes, my son.
And how many kids?
Just one.
Okay. So on that day, were you there with your son or daughter?
My son and my wife.
Okay. And you were marching with the Blazers?
Yes.
Do you recall what you were doing? Were you handing out candy, handing out flyers?
We were handing out flyers.
Okay. To support the Blazers program?
Yeah, to recruit people for the rookie program.
Okay.
I always start feeling nervous. Now it's to a point now where as soon as they said they had kids marching, I just automatically feel nervous because I don't know if he's going to say his kids got hit or what.
What did the Blazers have afloat in the parade?
We had a truck.
Okay. And was it marked with the Blazers logo on it?
Yes.
Do you recall what color it was?
No.
Okay. And where were you in relationship to the truck? Was the truck in front of the people with the Blazers, or was the truck behind the people?
We had players on both sides of the vehicle. I was walking majority in the back of behind the truck during the parade.
Okay. Did there come a time when you heard a commotion behind the truck?
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury what exactly you heard?
I heard screaming.
Now, you were at a parade, so I'm assuming as part of a parade there's normally screaming. Was it something different?
Yes.
Can you describe it?
Horrific.
I'm sorry?
Horrific.
Okay. What did you do?
I turned around to look at what was going on.
What did you see?
I saw a red Ford Escape up on the curb. I saw people throwing themselves out of the way.
Now, when you say you saw the vehicle up on the curb, can you describe that for the jury, what you mean by that?
It wasn't in the roadway.
So I'm assuming that the parade is taking place on Main Street in the City of Waukesha?
Yes.
And the cars and the parade participants would be within the areas between the two curbs?
Yes.
And this car was up on a curb?
What I remember, yes.
Okay. Did you see that car strike any people?
No.
Okay. You saw people running from the area that the car was coming from?
Yes.
What did you do?
I instantly tried to find my son.
How old is your son?
He's 10 now.
9 at the time of the parade?
Yes.
Where was he when you last saw him before looking to your back when you heard the commotion?
He was on the left side of the truck.
Okay. And did you see him when you looked back?
No.
Then what happened?
I was struck by the vehicle.
Where did the vehicle strike you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you receive injuries as a result of the vehicle striking you?
Yes.
And what were those injuries?
I couldn't walk. I was in the hospital. I had muscle contusions. I had bone bruises.
Did the vehicle, when it struck you, or after it struck you, did the vehicle continue on with its path of travel down the parade route?
Yes.
Overruled.
And did you see the path it took after striking you?
Yes.
Where did it go?
Forward.
Could you tell if it went straight ahead, swerved one way or the other way?
No.
Overruled. He may answer.
No.
When you were struck, do you recall if you were to the left of the Blazers truck or if you were still in the middle of the Blazers truck?
I was on the left.
Were you knocked to the ground?
Yes.
What do you recall after the truck went past as you're laying on the ground?
I just remember tires going by.
Going over you or just by you?
When I first recall it, it seemed like it was going over me. But I can't. Be honest with you, I don't know.
Then what did you next recall?
People coming over to me.
Okay. Did you see your son?
No.
Did you eventually meet up with your son while you were still on Main Street?
Yes.
Okay. And was he injured?
No.
I'm going to show you what's been previously received as State's Exhibit 11, and I'm going to ask that be published to the jury, or for the jury.
Go ahead. Will this be part of it, all of it, something else?
It would be probably the first 20 or so seconds.
Right.
The video is 2 minutes and 29 seconds. And I'm going to start it at 0.
Go ahead.
And so I'm just going to have it play, and then I'm going to ask you some questions.
Just so we clear for the record, the first 20 seconds, right?
I'm going to stop it when it hits the relevant time frame that this witness can testify to.
Go ahead.
Do you see yourself, it's been paused at 18 seconds, do you see yourself in this still shot?
Yes.
Can you circle where you are? Oh, I'm sorry, it's the touch screen. I guess I need to add that part.
That is the pointer. He's not the
Okay.
first person to grab that, so we'll
Okay.
have Pete take it and we'll bring it back to you.
Yeah, usually they don't like me to have the pointer. I tend to hit people with it. So that's probably why they best left it up there. And that's you marching the parade, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know, was the truck playing any music as the parade was? Did you guys have any sound coming from your area?
I do not remember.
Okay. Do you recall if you heard a horn honking after seeing the red SUV?
No.
You did not hear any horn honking?
No.
Okay. Next, I'm going to show you Exhibit 148, which has been previously admitted into evidence. I'd ask that it be published to the jury. And I would be playing the first 27 seconds of that video.
Go ahead.
And I'm just going to play it through the first time.
But someone mentioned in the comments section that Judge Jennifer actually had the authority, I guess, to
You
like.
can stop it here
Hold on.
at 23 seconds. What did you see in that video, sir?
Being struck.
Okay. And that accurately depicts what...
That's not my computer.
.148 again. And playing it, it looks like you're running towards something. And let me play it and then pause it when I see that beginning. Pause. Do you recall what you were running towards?
My son.
Okay. And that would have been where he was at that time of the parade?
Yes, on the left side.
Do you recall where Jackson and Tucker Sparks were at that time?
No.
Okay. Have nothing further? No, thank you.
And just for the record, you may have
Come on.
said this, but the last pause was at 16 seconds in.
It's about to be Darrell Brooks' time.
All right, you may take the video down, please. All right, go ahead.
I might need that same video.
All right, well, let me know when you need it. Go ahead, you may start your cross.
Can you pull that exhibit up again, 148?
Sure. You want it to the witness or published?
Published.
All right. How much of it do you want played before you ask a question?
The first, what was it, 22, 23 seconds?
All right. 23 is my notes indicate. It's when the state first stopped it. All right, go ahead.
I can't believe I thought he was formulating questions by himself. I'm still like kind of upset that I even thought that. Like, that's insane.
Can you pause it right there? Can you identify for the jury where you are in this video if you see yourself?
The record is paused at 15 seconds.
You,
And for the record, I believe is this the video with the sound? No, this one does not have sound. Okay, just want to make sure I had that accurate. All right, go ahead, Mr. Brooks.
you can unpause it.
Clear the...
All right.
This is so wild. He has to sit here and like answer questions for this dude.
Yes, that would be correct. 21 seconds.
This is insane.
Do you recall, from just looking at the video, have you seen this video before today?
Just still shots of it, not the video itself.
So it'd be fair to say that this is only your second time seeing this video.
Yes.
Do you, you could take the video down, I'm sorry. Do you recall giving a statement to Officer Copel?
I don't remember the name of the officer.
Do you recall giving a statement to an officer?
An FBI agent? Yes.
Do you recall if you
Taking a
gave them
peek
a
at you
summary
guys'
of what
comments.
you remember if you actually wrote the statement yourself?
I don't think I wrote it.
Do you recall saying that you needed a walker to assist you in moving?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you're moving pretty good these
Do not
days?
say. I knew he's gonna say something smart. I knew it,
Sustain.
or rather something not smart. But I'm pretty sure he didn't mean that he needed a walker in that moment, right? He probably needed it after the fact, I'm assuming. But okay.
Sustain.
Would it be fair to say that you're walking pretty good as of now?
Objection.
Grounds. Just walk to the
Sustained.
bench.
Not relevant.
Did you also remember stating that you don't remember much from the event?
I do not remember saying that.
And I guess it would be the summary of the report of the statement that you gave to the officer, which I have right here. It says that you stated that you
I'm waiting for
don't
the
remember
question.
much from the event, but made it clear that your primary concern was needing to know where your children were after being struck. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
He's legit reading questions off of this paper. This is wild.
Do you recall what you did after being struck?
I could not move. I was on the ground.
Do you recall how long before you were moved from your position?
A couple minutes.
Were you helped by someone, or
Yes, 2 people.
and where did they take you?
Into the joke shop.
And from there, did you receive any medical attention?
Yes.
Do you recall where that was?
Memorial Hospital.
You recall who took you to Memorial Hospital?
A squad car.
You remember the officer's name?
No.
Do you recall what date you made the report to the officer? Or the date that you were interviewed, rather?
Which time?
So there was more than one time?
Yes.
Do you recall making or giving an interview, rather, on the 24th of November of 2021?
Yes.
Do you recall what date the other report was taken?
The night of.
Do you remember by whom that night?
An FBI agent.
After being struck, you testified that you saw the vehicle kind of go up on the curb. Would that be fair to say?
Can you ask that again?
What did you see the vehicle do after it struck you?
After it struck me, I continued.
What did you see it do?
Drove off.
Did you see it strike anyone at that point?
No.
Or were you able to get a look at the driver in any way?
No.
A license plate number in any way?
No.
You testified for the jury earlier that you heard screams from behind you before you were struck. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Did you see the vehicle approaching at that point? Did you turn to see if anything was approaching at that point, rather?
Yes.
About how far was the vehicle away from you at that time that you observed it?
20 yards.
Let me guess. He's gonna say
You were able to make that assumption how?
I'm a coach and we go off yards a lot.
That makes sense.
I thought he was gonna say something even crazier.
Would it be fair to say that that's relatively close?
Yes.
Close enough for you to see into the vehicle?
I did not see into the vehicle.
So it would be fair to say that at no time during the incident you saw the driver.
No, I did not.
And just so I'm correct for the record, you said that you said that your children were not injured in the incident. Would that be fair to say?
Not physically.
Grounds?
The witness answered it. His answer may stand, so the objection is overruled.
He said not physically, but you know mentally that took a toll on him to see their dad like that, and then also I'm sure they saw some stuff like during the entire situation.
At Memorial Hospital, did you receive
Stuff no
any,
kid should be seeing.
any pain medications, Tylenol, ibuprofen, anything like that?
Yes.
Do you recall how long you had to be treated before you were discharged?
1 day.
In the days after the event, did you file any claim whatsoever?
Can you be more descriptive?
Did you file a claim as an injured party?
Yes.
Do you remember who that was with?
No.
So would you consider yourself to be an injured party in this matter?
Absolutely.
So you would consider yourself to be a plaintiff?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. On relevance grounds.
How do you get to that? All right.
And under 906.11 as well.
Hey, 906.11.
Do you recall who called you to testify in this matter?
The DA?
Can you point out for the jury which DA?
No.
Do you see him in court?
No.
Do you recall the name of the DA that you were referring to?
I got
Judge has to relevance for this
Grounds.
hearing.
Sustained. He's already indicated that the district attorney's office issued the subpoena.
Well, actually, he said the DA, so that was pretty vague.
Sir, did you mean the district attorney's office?
Yes.
Next question, please.
Were you subpoenaed?
Yes.
Do you recall the name on the subpoena?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
How many different ways can he say no? He doesn't know who it was. Getting stuck in place once again.
So to the best of your knowledge, you're not aware of any plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained.
To the best of your knowledge, you have never seen the plaintiff in this matter.
Objection,
Grounds.
relevance.
Sustained.
Have you ever seen or read a complaint in this matter of any kind?
Yes.
Would you state what that was for the record and for the jury?
I just saw the stuff in the news.
And seeing stuff on the news would amount to a complaint?
Sorry, I misheard your question. Can you ask it again?
Have you read or seen a complaint in this matter?
No.
But it would be fair to say,
These
just
questions.
based on your testimony, that you saw reporting on the incident in the news. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall what you saw in the news?
Just information about the trial.
Did you see anything before the reported trial?
No.
Would it be fair to say that this matter has been going on for quite some time, that there were a lot of reports in the news? Would that be fair to say?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds?
Ms.
It's not
Wilson, unless
relevant.
we can tie it into relevance with this witness, I'm inclined to sustain
I'm
the
going
objection.
somewhere with it.
Then just ask the question, sir.
He can. He
Have
cannot.
you yourself seen anything in the news before the scheduled trial in regards to this matter?
Yes.
Can you state for the record and for the jury what that was?
Just information about the trial itself.
Did you at any time see any reports about the alleged defendant at any time?
Mr. Brooks, I'm gonna, under 90611, this is not a witness who identified the driver, so I'm not sure where the relevance is of this. We'll take it up outside the presence of the jury once you're concluded with your questions, and I'll determine if there needs to be more questioning of this witness. Next topic, please.
Please end it. Just ask the same question like 2 more times as you tend to do.
You testified a few minutes earlier that you really don't remember much after being struck. Do you recall?
Oh my god. I never noticed this before because they usually don't show them during his questions. Look at the annoyance on their face. Look at how annoyed they both are. Even he's just trying to, like, you know, keep a straight face and everything, you know, because they're trying to show respect to these witnesses, because these witnesses have been through everything. Like, these witnesses have been through hell and high water, you know, so they're trying to show them respect. But this is that's funny.
Do you recall where you were after being struck?
I was on the ground.
And about which area? Was it by the Blazers truck, relatively close to the curb, or about what position?
Near the truck.
Near the Blazers truck.
Yes.
Did you see the vehicle strike anyone before it struck you?
No.
No further questions.
How do you read the record?
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
All right.
Before he's excused, I'm
That
just
one
going to
wasn't-
excuse the jury momentarily. We'll let you know when you can be brought back in. All rise for the jury, please.
Okay. So in terms of like the stupid questions that I really thought he was gonna go for, it wasn't that bad. I really thought he was gonna ask some much crazier stuff. So I'm glad he at least gave me a breather from being like annoyed with this crazy stuff that he asked. But someone was mentioning in the comment section they saw an Emily D. Baker video, and I used to watch her live reactions to this back when she was doing that. But they mentioned, they said that she said that Judge Jennifer could have forced something along like the lines of she could have made it to where Darrell stays in the other courtroom and forced him to accept an attorney, something along those lines. If that would have happened,
think
this
you'd be
whole
seated.
thing would have been so different.
Mr. Brooks, I cut you off when you were asking questions about what this witness had seen on
He's gonna
the
be angry.
news.
Watch this.
I'll give you an opportunity to give me an offer of proof as to why you believe that's relevant and specifically as to this witness.
Well, it's relevant because of how close he testified to being away from the vehicle. He testified to being 20 yards away from the vehicle, which is not super close, but it's not far enough that you wouldn't be able to see a driver or see into the car.
Well, that's an argument, sir. So what questions would you have that you didn't already ask, and why? How does the news reports relate to that?
Maybe he may have seen the alleged defendant on the news, and maybe that may jog his memory back to if he seen the driver.
But he testified he didn't see the driver. So
He also testified to never making the comment that he didn't remember the event, but it's clearly in his summary and in his report that he said that. So it's conflicting. His report is conflicting with what he's testifying. So I was trying to get at the credibility of it. That was my whole aim.
Well, he also gave that report a decent amount of time is like has taken place since he gave that report. So I don't even know why that.
The news reports
That's not
have
like
to
a
do
crazy
with that,
thing.
sir.
The news reports are relevant just by the sheer amount of reporting that they've been report. This has been going on for a year.
That assumes facts, not an evidence, sir. So this witness did not identify you during this trial. This witness testified as to his observations regarding the date in question, his injuries, and other things surrounding what he saw and heard and what he didn't see and hear. So the news reports don't have any bearing on his credibility. The points that you bring up are arguments that you may make if you choose during your closing arguments. But the questions you are asking don't further that theory. So that's why I cut you off, because there was not anything that you were connecting by way of relevance.
With all due respect, Your Honor, a lot of the questions I ask are objected to. It seems like I can't even get to the questions that need to be answered.
This is court.
Sir, many of your questions go to these sovereign ideas that are frivolous arguments about the plaintiff and all of that. We give you a little bit of leeway. I give you a little bit of leeway on it. But to ask about a claim, because frankly, it's a vague question, and many of these victims may in fact have made a claim with crime victim compensation. And so I think that's potentially relevant. But you may be asking it for a different purpose. I'm allowing it probably for a different purpose than you're anticipating. But the questions about the state and the plaintiff, other than when you talk about and you ask questions about who subpoenaed them, had they reviewed anything in preparation for their testimony, those are all fair game. But other questions are not, and that's why there's an objection, and that's why I rule the way that I do. So ask relevant questions, they'll be answered. So I don't see any need for this witness to be brought back in. I don't believe that witness was on Mr. Brooks's list, so that witness is excused. Who's the next witness?
With all respect, on the record, Your Honor.
I've asked a question of the state. Let them answer, please.
Will I be able
Mr.
to
Brooks,
bring
let
up-
them answer. Hold on.
Judge Jennifer's not having it,
The
Lynn.
next witness
She
that
is
we
not
had
having
intended
it
on
today.
calling is Detective Mike Carpenter with the Waukesha Police Department, who would provide testimony about his conducting the speed analysis of the vehicle. I don't expect that we'd be able to get through direct. Well, we might be able to get through direct.
I'd like to at least have him start. I want to go closer to the lunch hour today.
So the other issue is that we thought we were going to be breaking for lunch, so he's not in the building right now. We have another witness who is ready, who we could call out of order, but that would be moving into a new topic, a new group along the parade route. So we're fine with whatever the court wants to do.
I'd like to keep going, so I'll defer to you on which witness to call.
And Your Honor, I would just note, I don't believe I asked for it, maybe I did. Jeff Rogers, I know he has remained in the courtroom, he is a victim. Is he excused from his subpoena? He was not an individual who is, who we were provided a subpoena for by Mr. Brooks.
He's excused.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bring the jury back out and you may call.
On the record before you bring the jury back.
Quickly, Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to questions I asked and being, you said something to the effect of sovereign things. I don't understand what you mean by that. I have no anticipation on your rulings. I'm not trying to sit here and I got enough work to do on the fly. I'm definitely not trying to sit here and trying to anticipate what will be objected to, what will be ruled on in any way. I'm merely just, it was understood that this would be a whole new thing for me to do. I apologize if I'm not as polished as I should be working on 3 days' time before a trial.
He wants us to feel bad for him.
All the work that I have that I haven't even gone through.
Mr. Brooks, the jury's coming back in.
For the record, I don't consent to that name, and I don't
Oh, now he's back to.
consent to the arguments that the prosecution made. There are relevant questions as the jury deserves
Mr.
to
Brooks,
know.
please.
This is the sovereign citizen crap she just referenced. She just said that you were on. You were asking sovereign citizen questions, and you look. He's
The
he's
jury
proving her
deserves to know who
point.
the plaintiff is in this matter. I think it's fair to them if they're to make an informed and intelligent decision. They should know who the plaintiff is.
Sir, your objection's noted for the record.
I ask for a legal finding of fact on that ruling, Your Honor. Or is that a judicial determination, Your Honor?
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
I can. This might be the day he gets tossed.
All right,
in
the
the
state
other
may call its
courtroom
next
again.
witness, please.
This might be one of those days. He's like teetering on that line, like he's really close to. I can feel it. I completely missed who they said was the next witness.
The state calls Alyssa Gajewski.
All right.
Illicit. Okay.
Good morning. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right. It is up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk, Teresa, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, ma'am. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Alyssa Gajewski, ALYSSAGAJEWSKI.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ms. Gajewski, how old are you?
23.
Do you have any familiarity with a group called the Extreme Dance Group?
Yes.
How do you know that group?
I used to coach there.
How long were you a coach for the extreme dance group?
About 4 years.
Can you tell us the time frame where that took place?
Yeah, so probably around 2018 to early 2022.
Where's that dance group headquartered? Where do you hold your practices?
It was it's 404 Travis Lane. I don't know Waukesha, so I don't know what road it's off of.
Okay, but it's in Waukesha?
Yes.
All right. And in general, what cities or municipalities did the dancers come from?
Waukesha.
What were the approximate age ranges of the girls that you instructed at Extreme?
Just myself.
The girls who were dancers, how old were they?
So we started at Itty Bitty, which was about 2-ish, and then my team was the oldest, so we went up to 8th grade.
What do you call your team?
So my team was called the Elite Team.
And what's the approximate age range of those girls?
6 to 8, 8th grade.
And you mentioned Itty Bitty was about 2, right?
About 2 to 3.
Are there any groups between those?
Yeah, so it's Itty Bitty, and then the tiny group, and then the mini group, and then the juniors, and then the elite.
And it's a continuum of age from Itty Bitty all the way up to the elite?
Yes.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to Sunday afternoon, November 21st of 2021. Was your group, the Extreme Dance Group, marching in the Waukesha Christmas Parade that day?
Yes.
And were you present with the group?
Yes.
Were there any other instructors or coaches there?
Yeah, there was just one other.
And who was that?
Jamie Sutton.
Do you remember approximately how many from your dance group were present?
I had about 12. Jamie might have had around 10. Minis was around 4, maybe. Tinies 4, and Itty Bitties, I'm not sure, because they were just in like strollers and stuff with their parents.
When you marched in the parade, were you in a specific formation?
Yes, we were.
And
There was
how
so many
were the
kids in
different
this
age
event.
groups organized in that formation?
So at the front, it would start oldest, and then it would go to youngest. So it would be elite, juniors, minis, tiny, and then the itty bitties with their parents.
Okay. Was there a vehicle or a float associated with your group in the parade?
Yeah, there was a truck.
What kind of truck?
It was
Pickup truck?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the objection? Her answer may stand. I'll instruct the state to avoid leading questions.
About how many times did you make it through your routine during that parade?
Overruled.
I don't recall.
Was there a certain point when your dancers stopped dancing?
Overruled. You may answer.
Yeah, they did stop dancing.
Hey, you notice he's getting a lot more tough, you know, now that now it's a girl on the stand. And I saw a lot of that in the comments. You guys were pointing that out. When it's like, I noticed he was doing that. I noticed he was doing it really early on too. But then it's almost like I kind of let it leave my mind for a bit until you guys pointed it out. Now I'm noticing it again. Like, now that there's a girl up here, everything is an objection. He's not letting her really answer questions like that. When the guy was up there, he let him, I mean, he threw a couple objections. I was only like maybe 2 or 3. But I want to see how he's going to handle this cross-exam, if he's going to get pushy with the questions and all this stuff.
Why?
Like, you know, he fears
Because there was a
women.
car that drove through.
Oh my God, dude. That's messed up, man.
There's also water. You may open one of those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Kajewski, we're going to put up on the screen for you Exhibit 15, and with the court's permission, this has been received already. I'd ask to publish to the jury as well.
Permission granted.
Do you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Do you see a green box with names in it with the label Waukesha Extreme Dance underneath?
Yes.
Do you recognize the names in that green box?
Yes.
You see a black line connecting that green box to a yellow star?
Yes.
Can we scroll down a little bit?
That's one of the highest impacted
Do you
groups
recognize the neighborhood in this map?
from the looks.
Kinda. It's downtown.
Downtown Waukesha?
Yeah.
The yellow star that's connected to the Waukesha Extreme Dance names, is that an approximate area where you described the car hitting the girls?
Yeah, right before the 5 points.
Okay, we can take that down, thank you. I'm now going to ask that we project onto the screen for the witness only exhibit number 33. Let me know when you see the screen in front of you.
I see it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to just take as much time as you need, read all those names, and then describe for me what we're looking at.
It's the formation that the girls were in.
On the day of the parade?
Yes.
And does that accurately represent where each of those girls were in formation?
Yes.
And you've reviewed a diagram similar to this before your testimony, right?
Yes.
I would move Exhibit 33 into evidence and ask for permission to publish.
Before I allow that, if you could ask her about the non-labeled boxes.
Sure. You can see that there are some boxes on this diagram that don't have names in them, is that right?
Darrell does not like that.
What do those boxes represent?
Who wasn't injured?
So, but those are people? Those are
Oh, yes.
members of the dance group?
Yes.
But to your knowledge, a box without a name is a person who wasn't hit.
Yes.
Okay. I'll renew my request at this point.
Objection.
He does not like that. She gave him the
How
question.
is it legal to instruct the prosecution to ask a question that they should already know to ask?
I knew it.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. Exhibit 33 is received and permission to publish is granted.
His confusion.
Okay, can you, Ms. Kajewski, can you explain for us what the colors mean in this exhibit?
So they're each different team. So the yellow is the elite team, the green is the junior team, and the blue is the mini team. And there is 2 teams behind that, but they didn't have a formation. And that's why only these 3 are on here.
Okay. You testified earlier that you were marching in order of age, so the elites were in the front of the group, right?
Yes.
So the parade route, if we were moving forward, it would be the bottom of this page, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we project for the witness only exhibit number 32, please?
Go ahead.
Let me know when you see something on your screen.
I see it.
Okay, we're going to play just a few seconds of this to see if you recognize it.
This is another cross-exam I'm not excited about. I really wish he didn't even get the chance to cross-exam her.
Okay, we'll pause there. You played 19 seconds.
Hopefully it's
Do you
short.
recognize this video?
Not this video.
Okay. Do you recognize the truck at
Yes.
this point that we've stopped at?
Yep.
At 19 seconds?
Yeah.
What's the truck?
That's the truck that we had for Extreme.
During the Christmas parade?
Yes.
Did you recognize the people in front of the truck holding the banner?
Objection. The witness stated she doesn't recognize the video. How is it permitted?
Your objection's noted, it's overruled. She may answer the question.
Could you say the question again?
Did you recognize the two people holding the banner in front of the truck?
Yes.
Were they affiliated with your group?
Yes.
Let's play a few more seconds just for the witness. And pause there. Pause at 27 seconds. Did you recognize the people coming into the screen from the left?
Yes.
Who are they?
Our dancers.
Okay. Does this video appear to be an accurate depiction of your group along the parade route during the Waukesha Christmas Parade?
Yeah.
You may answer.
Yes.
I'd move to admit exhibit number 32 and ask for permission to publish.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Did you sustain that objection?
I didn't rule on it. Which objection?
That I just objected to.
It was overruled.
Are you making that decision now?
What do you
There's been
think?
a request by the state to receive exhibit 32, Mr. Burke.
I objected.
All right, then.
Oh, he's in a little kid mood today. He's feeling like the judge is no longer on his side and all this stuff. Because you remember, a couple videos back, he was all joyful and he's chuckling and everything. And when he was giving off these little speeches and everything, and then the judge would say thank you for that, and he's feeling like he's a part of everything and he's being nice. Now he's upset because the judge told him that his questions are stupid, which they are. You know, she didn't say directly that they're stupid, I know, but I mean, now he's being a little kid again. I think he's gonna get put in the other courtroom today. Like, when they remove the jury this time, he's probably gonna get tossed in the other courtroom because he's just gonna be disruptive and not let her like answer any questions or anything.
Your objection's noted. It's overruled.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
Exhibit 32 is received.
Yeah, this is probably one of those
The
days.
foundation has been laid, and permission to publish is granted.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
The record speaks for itself.
On what grounds, Your Honor?
You may play.
There's no audio with this video. We're going to play from the beginning.
How long is the video for the record?
It's 1 minute and 23 seconds.
Thank you.
Pause, please. We've paused at the 35-second mark. Ms. Kajewski, do you remember what you were wearing on your head, if anything at all, that day?
Yeah, I had a bright red hat on.
Do you see yourself in this at the 35-second mark of this video?
Yes.
Can you? That's a touch screen in front of you. Can you use your finger and circle yourself? Okay. And we can clear that, please, Madam Clerk. And we'll resume at the 35-second mark. And we can take that down now. Thank you. So, Ms. Kajewski, well, let me just clarify.
This is
What did
so
we see at the end of that
messed up,
video?
bro. This is insane.
You can take some time.
A car going through the parade.
Is that the same vehicle that you remember seeing that day?
Yes.
And this is what's even more messed up. I'm sorry I'm pausing so much. But she was doing a good thing. She was doing a good thing that day. She was coaching a bunch of small children that just wanted to have fun and show their community, you know, their dancing skills and everything. Like she was doing a good thing. And look at what he turned it into. And like that has to weigh on her mind right now. Man, it's crazy. Like, I hope she doesn't feel like any sort of like guilt in that way, because that's not on her, you know? That's not on her at all. But man, this is insane, man.
Do you recall where you were standing at the point that the vehicle started to go through your girls in relation to the rest of the group?
Yeah, in relation to the rest of the group, I was on the side that was with all the names, but I don't remember like what stores I was by.
If you were standing in the middle of your group, were you on the left side or the right side?
Overruled, she may answer.
Which way are you looking?
If you're walking down the parade route.
I'm looking towards the truck.
Yep.
I would be on the left side.
And you were towards the front
Yes.
by the elite girls?
Yes.
Okay. I'm now going to ask that we
Please get
put
this
up for
dude
the
off the
witness
screen.
only exhibit number 34. And before we get into questions about this exhibit, I'll go back and ask you about the video we just looked at, exhibit 32. After having watched that video just now in court, does it appear as though that diagram with the names that we looked at, exhibit 33, does it appear as though that diagram was an accurate depiction of where the named girls were positioned at the time the SUV came into the group?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's the objection?
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Okay. So now, I
Yes.
believe the end. Okay. So now we'll put up exhibit 34 for the witness, please. We're just going to play a few seconds to see if you recognize this. Let's do a few more seconds. Okay. Do you recognize this video?
Not the video, but
Do you recognize images from the video?
it's
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. You may continue answering. I turned it off for the witness till they can finish.
okay.
Okay, I think we've got the rotation figured out
Okay.
here. We're going to play 5 or 10 seconds again for you just to see if you recognize the video. Okay. Now do you recognize the video?
Yeah.
What does it show?
The car going through and someone
Is
flying.
that an accurate depiction of the scene as you saw it that day?
Mm-hmm.
Hearsay. She already stated she didn't recognize the video.
This characterizes her testimony. Your objection overruled. It is not hearsay. You may answer. And if you did answer, if you could just repeat it.
Could you?
Is that video an accurate depiction of the scene as you saw it unfold that day?
Yes.
Your answer may stand. Thank you.
What was the answer?
Yes.
Move Exhibit 34 into evidence.
Man, I'm getting like legit agitated now. This is wild.
Exhibit 34 has received permission to publish.
This is a 50-second clip. We're not going to play the whole thing. We're going to play from the beginning to about 12 seconds. We're going to turn the audio on.
Can we go ahead and toss him out though? Like he thinks that we all care for some reason, that he's upset as a grown man.
We've paused at 12 seconds. I'm going to ask that we go back to the beginning. Slow it down to 30% speed.
This is strength, man. She, like...
And we've turned the audio off.
She's doing this too. She's doing it to justice for her team, for all those kids and everything. Like she's doing the right thing. I know this is rough.
And I'm going to ask Ms. Gussie to go frame by frame. We paused at 1 second, by the way. Next frame. Next frame. One more. There. We're at a frame at 2 seconds. There's a figure on the bottom, on the left side of the screen, appears to be wearing black with long hair. You recognize that person?
Yes.
Can you see any features
Mr.
in
Brooks,
there?
that's argumentative. Your objection's noted. It's overruled. You may answer.
Hearsay. Objection
Not
for hearsay.
hearsay.
I might have to take a break on this one because this dude is acting beyond stupid right now. Like, he thinks that we care that this grown man baby is agitated. Can we put him in the other courtroom and have a warm bottle in there waiting for him? Because I feel like that's what he
You may
wants.
answer.
Clear hearsay.
You may answer.
Yes.
Who is that person we're looking at?
Jesselyn.
Can you use the touchscreen in front of you and circle that picture? Circle Jesselyn, please. I'd ask to save the annotation as Exhibit 34A and to move it into evidence.
The annotation has been saved. Exhibit 34A is received.
Let me get my thumbnail real quick. I'm gonna make this thumbnail extra messed up because this dude acting like...
Ms. Kajewski, when you say Jesselyn, are you referring to Jesselyn Torres?
Yes.
She was a member of your dance group?
Yes, she was on the junior team.
We can take that down. I'm going to ask that we play Exhibit 35 just for the witness. And this is just 8 seconds long, so we'll play the whole thing to see if you recognize it, okay?
Okay.
Do you recognize that video?
Yes.
What does it show?
The car going through.
Through your dance group?
Yes.
Is that an accurate video depicting the events that day?
Yes.
Move Exhibit 35 into evidence and request permission to publish.
Objection.
Exhibit 35 is received permission to publish. Granted, your objection is noted for the record.
Again, this is 8 seconds long. We're going to turn the audio on for this video.
Objection still. Is the video, who even took the video? Is it relevant?
Sir, it's not an objection, it's a statement. We can ask questions later.
Not even the witness that took.
Go ahead.
So, Judge, before we begin, I have to step in here and request that Mr. Brooks be instructed to stop making comments under his breath. This witness is very clearly having an emotional and difficult time testifying. And
Exactly.
she doesn't need to hear that.
Objection, she can't hear anything I'm saying.
Mr. Brooks, the mics are very good in this courtroom, so please refrain. All right, keep going.
Thank you. So we will begin at the beginning of this video. We'll play the whole thing with audio.
I just want to say one thing. To the extent that there are comments on this video, those comments are not being offered. I would instruct the jury to disregard those in terms of the evidence. It's the video that's important.
I'm glad the jury's seeing what a piece of trash she is, though. They're seeing how
For
garbage
the
she
courtroom,
is.
actually. Exhibit 33, the diagram again. And we'd ask to publish for the jury.
Go ahead.
Can we zoom in on the top of the screen here? So, Ms. Kajewski, I'd like to work our way through this name by name based on your recollection of what you saw during the parade that day, okay? So let's start with the first person on the top right, Vivian Urell. You knew Vivian Urell before November 21st, right?
Yes.
And do you recall seeing her either while the SUV was driving through or after?
Objection, hearsay.
It's not hearsay. Overruled.
I saw her after, not during, because I was in the front.
Can you describe the circumstances when you saw her after?
Objection, hearsay.
Mr. Brooks, I'm going to direct your attention to review section 908.01. You have a statute book. Please do that. It's not hearsay. All right, go ahead.
Could you repeat the question?
Can you describe the circumstances of how you saw her and where afterwards?
Yeah, she was on the opposite side of the road, just like in a fetal position.
Did you have any interaction with her?
Yeah, I did. I went in a squad car with her to the hospital.
Which hospital?
I think it's called Waukesha Memorial.
Here in Waukesha?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you observe any injuries to her?
Yeah, she had road rash on her chin.
Okay. Next, I want to ask you about Mackenzie Hollingsworth, the first top right green square there. Did you see her as the SUV was coming through?
I didn't see her as the SUV. I
What-
saw her at the hospital.
Waukesha Memorial?
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe what she looked
Sorry, was that a yes? You just said,
Oh.
was that a yes?
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. That's okay.
Can you describe how she looked at the hospital?
Yeah, she was laying on the ground, and her mom was on her left side of her, and I was on her right, and I was holding her hand, trying to get her to squeeze my hand so she could like stay awake. But she was going in and out of consciousness. She was asleep, and then she would wake up sobbing, and it would just repeat.
I next want to ask you about Alice Urell, so the next green square down on that diagram. Did you see her as the SUV drove through?
I didn't see like her get hit because it was just a blur, but I saw her body on the ground right after, and she's the one that the first person I saw.
Okay. And did you have any interaction with her after the fact?
Yeah, I picked her up as soon as her body was right in front of me. I just picked her up because I didn't know what was about to happen.
What did you think had happened at that point?
I didn't know. I didn't know if there was going to be just a bunch of cars. So I just wanted to get her out of the way.
You've already testified about Jesselyn Torres. The Jesselyn Torres who's named in a green square there, is that the same Jesselyn Torres that you referenced when we watched Exhibit 34?
Yes.
Okay. Moving down the diagram, I'll ask you about Yuretsi Becerra Montes. You recognize that name?
Yes.
Did you see Yuretsi as the SUV came through the group?
I saw her after.
Where did you see her?
Behind the truck on the ground.
Which truck?
The same truck that was driving in front of all the girls.
That black pickup truck?
Yeah.
How close to the truck was she?
At the tailgate.
Was anybody else with her?
Yeah, I remember seeing her dad and her sister.
How did she appear to you in that moment? Health-wise?
Just in shock.
Moving down the list to Julia Schlickow, excuse me. Did you see Julia as the SUV was driving through the group?
I didn't see her as the SUV came through. I saw her at the hospital.
At Waukesha Memorial?
Yes.
How did she appear to you when you saw her at Waukesha Memorial?
She wasn't good.
Can you take a little bit of time and then tell us in a little bit more detail?
I was with Kenzie at the time, and at Waukesha Memorial there's a glass, wall window, and I saw Julia in a wheelchair by herself with, nurses around her, and she was kind of slunched over. She was in and out of consciousness as well, and so I ran over to her and told them her name, and they rushed her in the back because she was not doing well. And then when we got to the back, she started seizing and vomiting.
And you saw this while you were with Kenzie, as you said?
I saw Julia when I was with Kenzie, and then I left and went with Julia, and then we went in the back to a room, and that's when she started seizing and puking.
And just so we can keep the name straight, who's Kenzie?
Mackenzie Hollingsworth.
And moving further down the diagram towards the front, Sam Coelho. You recognize that name?
Yes.
Did you see Sam as the SUV went through the group?
I didn't see her with the SUV.
What about afterwards?
I didn't see her at the hospital either that night.
Okay. Do you remember providing a written statement with Detective Mandy Schwartz from the Waukesha Sheriff's Department shortly after this incident?
Yes.
I would ask that we project that statement for the witness only.
Go ahead.
This is officially the heaviest testimony up.
We can go down to page 4, please.
This will need to be marked for identification. What would be your next number?
Believe 149, please.
All right, will be marked Exhibit 149.
Ms. Kaczewski, do you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Let's scroll down a little further. All right, just to yourself silently, I'd like you to read from where it says saw another to the words so fast. Just read that silently. Let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Okay. Do you remember writing that or approving that written statement when you met with Detective Schwartz?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember now?
Hold on, we'll take that down.
Yeah, we can take that down, please. Sorry. Do you remember now talking about what happened to Sam?
I didn't see Sam. I only saw her dad.
Okay. And you didn't see her in the hospital afterwards?
Not that night, no.
Did you see her in the days following this incident?
Overruled.
Um,
Answer.
Yeah, as soon as the day she was able to have a visitor, I was there.
When you say visitor, what do you mean? Where was she?
Overruled.
She was at Children's.
Children's Hospital?
Yeah.
Do you know why she was there?
They moved her there just due to her injuries.
And you know she was injured as a result of what?
Overruled. She may answer as to what her knowledge of the injuries were.
Yeah, she was there because she was struck.
We put Exhibit 33 back up for the jury and the witness, please.
I'm sorry, 30?
33, please, the diagram.
Go ahead.
That was rough, man. I'm sitting here like
So,
trying
Ms.
to...
Kajewski, there's two
fight
remaining
back
names there
tears
on
here
the
in this.
diagram, Isabella Bartelt and Maddie Hollingsworth. Did you see either of them as the SUV went through the group?
I did not.
Did you see either of them in the immediate aftermath?
I did not.
Based on their position in that diagram and your review of the video evidence here in court, how would you describe their position in relation to the red SUV that went through the group?
If you're looking at the SUV, they were just to the left of it.
Okay. Do you know whether they were actually struck by the SUV?
I do not.
But based on their positioning, they would have been how close to the SUV in your best estimate?
Just a couple feet.
You're not able to give an accurate estimate about how fast the SUV was traveling at that point, is that right?
I could.
Okay. Well, please, if you think you can, please tell us how fast do you think it was traveling?
Overruled.
I thought around 55.
The black truck that was part of your group, right? That was about the approximate speed of the rest of the parade?
Yeah.
And was the red SUV traveling faster than the black truck?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have for direct examination, Your Honor.
All right, then we'll break for lunch. We'll continue with cross-examination after the lunch hour. Please rise for the jury.
Hold on, I was fast forwarding through this part because they're taking a break right now, but it sounded like Darrell was talking about something with Judge Jennifer. Let me see, did I go back far?
You can step down if you would like, or you can stay. It's up to you. Mr. Brooks, I referenced this earlier, but you have a statute book, section 908.01, is the start of the statutes that deal with hearsay. It provides a definition of what it is. It goes through statements which are not hearsay. And it has a whole host of exceptions that are referenced in 908.03. So I just direct your attention to that because many of your hearsay objections, they're not hearsay at all, sir. And I hope you're not just saying them just to interpose an objection.
That's exactly what he's doing.
It would be very helpful if you were to familiarize yourself with that.
how, for the record, Your Honor, how do I know that the prosecution isn't objecting to anything based on the same assumptions?
I don't understand what you're saying.
A lot
You
of
have that
times,
statute book, so if you'd like to read the hearsay statute, start with 908:01, continue with 908:02, the rule, and 908:03 are all the exceptions, continues with 908:04. I realize you are not a lawyer, Mr. Brooks, but you still should have a good faith basis to make the objection and then not argue with me when I rule on the objection. All right? The state will give its one word or statement. If it's self-evident to the court, I don't need the parties to even say much at all. But that's primarily why your objection's based on hearsay. There was one I sustained because it was in fact calling for hearsay. But when a witness has knowledge, hold on, when a witness, the witness is not asked to say what another person has said, assuming there's no exception that applies or it's just not hearsay under the rule, and they have otherwise personal knowledge about something, they can provide that answer. So I'm hoping that's helpful to you as you formulate your objections. Of course, I'll keep ruling on them. I just ask that when I rule on them, you not interpose the same objection before the witness has answered. When I say it's overruled, the person may answer, your objection stands, it's noted.
Oh, he's going to keep screaming these objections. You know, his little feelings are hurt right now. And it was interesting to see the exact moment it happened. Like, he's going to keep doing
Doesn't
this.
need to be said
I'm
again.
just going to put it out right now. I think he's going to get kicked out.
I don't understand how
Hopefully.
Someone can testify to things being told in the hospital. They're not a family member, a parent, or anything. So how would they know what injuries someone would have? How would that information be disclosed to someone without being a parent or a direct relative? That would be hearsay.
Sir, again, people can testify based on personal knowledge. What's hearsay is when it comes into court and they say, so-and-so told me. If they're saying, I was told, or, again, I think you're confusing personal knowledge with hearsay. So you can question people on how they knew that information, but you do that at your peril, because if you open the door for them to tell you how they know, then potentially hearsay is going to come in. So with that, I just wanted to give you that information. I can't obviously further explain to you, sir, other than to say ignorance of the law is not something you can use as a valid kind of defense, or you keep saying I don't understand.
I don't.
You did this of your own free will. You waived your right to an attorney, and the ignorance that you claim is not valid at this point, sir.
I'm sure I said this at some point. I'm pausing a lot. But I'm sure I mentioned this at some point. I really do think that he's trying to use that as a tactic to, like, have some sort of, I don't know, mistrial, or just make it open a path to where he can wiggle out of this. Like, he's trying to use his ignorance and saying, like, I don't understand it and they never explained it to me. Therefore, this entire process should have never happened. This whole legal process should have never happened when I didn't know what was going on. Which is not a valid argument when you openly, you are the one that told your attorneys, your lawyers, to kick rocks, and you said you'll represent yourself. So after all that, look, it's fair game, okay? It is fair game at this point.
I
So
also
with that,
altered that contract, Your Honor. You accepted the contract.
He altered the contract.
The way that I sent it back to you. Now let's
sir,
be
we don't
fair.
have a contract together. The contract
We do
was
not.
being
You're right.
misapplied in this
Oh, my
circumstance.
goodness.
Right. We are in recess. I'll see everyone. Let's be back at 1:30. Thank you, everyone.
I can't remember if I already reacted to this. I feel like I remember seeing something about him saying that before, like, oh, I altered the contract. And you know I did, and you accepted the terms of that. Like, okay. Okay, buddy. We'll be right back. How much you want to bet him altering the terms of the contract just was just him like circling certain parts and saying I don't understand, like writing in bold I don't understand beside this and that, and then wrote his signature.
In State versus Brooks, appearances are as they were this morning. Do we have Ms. Gajewski available?
She's right outside the door.
All right, bring her in and we'll bring the jury in as soon as she's up here for her cross-exam.
Oh no.
State that I do consent to that name, nor do I know any individual by that name.
Your lack of consent is noted for the record. All right, Ms. Gajewski, if you would please make your way back to the witness stand. And as soon as you are there, I will have the jury brought out.
I'm gonna drop the quality just a little bit because it seems to be going a bit slower. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad or anything.
All right, go ahead.
On the record, before the jury comes out, I would like to direct Your Honor to a case, United States versus Cotton, 535.
Mr. Brooks, if you have a motion, you need to put it in writing, and then I will address it. I'm not going to deal with any oral motions right now. So if you're asking me to reconsider something, you need to follow the proper procedure.
What is the proper procedure, Your Honor?
It's what she said 4 seconds ago.
I told you repeatedly what a motion is. So, and if it's a reconsideration, 806.07 is the statute.
He
I
wants to
direct
get
your
kicked out.
attention to.
It's not a reconsideration. It's just bringing up the subject matter jurisdiction again. Which
Sir,
still
I've
has
already
yet-
dealt with this repeatedly. So any further times you want me to address it, you need to put it in writing for the court to consider a proper motion with the relief that you're requesting, the legal basis, and the facts upon which you are relying.
I have that here, Your Honor.
Not just simply a case. I want a motion.
I've put in several motions that have yet to be
Sir,
answered.
I've already addressed them. The jury's on its way out. I'm not going to delay the start of this cross-examination for this argument yet again.
It's not
I've
an
already
argument.
addressed it. The fact that it's the afternoon doesn't mean I need to address it again. Jury's coming out.
It's going to continue to be brought up. It's going to continue to be brought up, Your Honor. It hasn't been proven that you have jurisdiction, that this court has jurisdiction. I think it's relevant. Subject matter jurisdiction can't be forfeited or waived. You know that. By not answering, Your Honor,
Please, the jury's coming out.
by not answering, Your Honor, you are agreeing to a tactic agreement. Is that a judicial determination that you don't have to answer?
A what agreement? What did he just say?
By not answering, Your Honor,
Please, the jury's coming out.
by not answering, Your Honor, you are agreeing to a tactic agreement.
A
Is that a
tactic
judicial
agreement.
determination that you don't have to answer?
Yo, I've never heard of that in my life. Hold on. Hold on. Let me Google it before I just outright
take
say,
that as a
like, well,
yes.
that's not a thing.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
I believe he said tactic agreement. Let me see.
All right, Mr. Brooks, you may question the witness if you have any questions for her.
I don't consent to being called that name, as I stated before. I will note that, like that
The
noted for the
defendant can
record.
question the witness.
Tacit agreement? Is that what he's referring to?
Is that noted for the record, Your Honor?
Ask your questions,
Man,
please.
Is it noted for the record, Your Honor?
You absolute man-child, you. Don't worry, they got a warm bottle waiting for you in the other courtroom. Because I know that's what you...
As you testified to earlier, you were present at the Christmas parade on November
Little
21st
baby
of
bottle in there.
2021. That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you remember about how long you intended to be at the parade?
Just until we finished the route.
It was a few exhibits that you stated on record that you weren't familiar with seeing. Would that be fair to say?
Once clarified, I did say that I remembered seeing them.
So you saw those videos before today?
Yes,
By how many times do you recall seeing them before today?
just once.
Do you recall who showed them to you?
Yes.
You stated for the record and for the jury.
Can you repeat that?
Can you state who showed you the videos for the record and for the jury?
Yeah, the state.
And who would you be referring to when you say the state?
I knew that was coming.
The three seated next to you.
Are you referring to the opposite table next to me?
Yes.
Let the record reflect that. She identified the three prosecutors sitting at the prosecution table.
He just blew the whole case wide
Record
open.
will so
There it
reflect.
is. It's over now. It's all
Do you recall
solved.
knowing if you would possibly be called to testify?
Yes.
Were you expecting to testify?
Yes, I got a letter in the mail.
Do you recall if that letter was a subpoena?
Yes, it was a subpoena.
You frequently refer to the vehicle as the car. Do you recall those statements?
Yes.
So, for clarification, what type of vehicle did you see that day? Was it a car?
It was a Ford SUV.
And how were you able to determine the make and model of the vehicle?
Objection. The witness did not describe the model.
Rounds.
Overruled. She may answer the question.
So when I first saw it, I made a point to figure out what car it was, not the license plate. And I knew it was either that an Escape or a Mercury. And then as the vehicle got closer to me, I saw the Ford emblem. That's how I knew it was a Ford.
And during those determinations of the make and model of the vehicle, did you catch a description of the driver?
No, I did not.
Any reason why you would be more focused on the make and model of the vehicle instead of who was driving the vehicle?
I can't tell you why. I just made sure I knew what the vehicle was.
And you didn't try to see if you can spot a license plate at any time?
It all happened way too fast.
So would it be fair to say that it happened fast enough for you to not be able to make out the model and make of the vehicle?
No, I knew exactly what it was.
But not exactly who was driving the vehicle?
No, I did not look who was driving it, just the make.
You stated that you observed some girls from your dance team in the hospital. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Don't ask
And
about
you
this.
stated that
Why is
a
he
few
asking?
of them were laying on the ground.
Yes.
Any idea why they would be laying on the ground in the hospital?
Because there was so many people, there wasn't enough room. So people were standing, sitting, and laying on the ground because the rooms were overflowed.
Were they being attended to at that time?
Nope, because there was too many people.
Did you recall feeling like maybe they should have been attended to, seeing as how they may have been seriously injured?
The nurses were attending to who needed it immediately. The nurses were doing the best they could.
So it would be fair to say that the girls that you observed on the ground weren't of immediate concern to the nurses at that time.
At that time, they weren't.
Were you injured in any way during this incident?
I was not.
And you testified earlier to the approximate speed of the vehicle. Do you recall what your answer was?
Yeah, about 55 miles per hour.
And how were you able to come to that determination?
Because I've drove for a couple of years now, and that's just the number that came to my head. Because when I drive, I know what 55 feels like, and I know what 25 feels like, and that was just my best guess.
So it would be fair to say that you were making an assumption. You didn't know for sure.
Nope. Yeah, that was just my best guess.
You made a reference to a young woman by the name of Sam. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And what relation do you have to Sam? Is she just part of the dance group or close friend or?
Yeah, she's part of the dance group, but I became super close with her ever since I started working there.
Do you recall seeing her struck by the vehicle?
No.
Do you remember where she was at the time that you saw the vehicle pass you?
Yes, she was on the front left side. If you're looking towards the truck that was in our group, she was on the left side in front, first girl.
Would it be fair to say that from that angle that you would be able to see her if she was struck?
I was turned the other way. She was behind my back.
So you don't know for sure where she was at when the vehicle passed you?
I do. She was in her formation that I had put her in.
Do you know if anyone was standing there or in that position with her at that time?
She has her own spot, and there was girls behind her and next to her, but she would have been the only dancer in her spot.
So it would have been people in her general area, but not directly next to her.
Yeah, they have space in between all of them.
Do you remember what you did immediately after the vehicle passed you?
Yep, I ran to Alice and I picked her up immediately.
In regards to your dance team, did you observe anyone struck?
I just remember seeing bodies in the air, but I can't say I remember seeing a vehicle hit them. I remember seeing bodies in the air and on the ground.
So at that point, it would be fair to say that you didn't know if the people that were on the ground or in the air or whatnot were in fact struck by a vehicle?
Well, I did know it was the vehicle because I turned around and I saw the vehicle coming towards them. And then I think I blacked out until they actually were in the air and on the ground.
By blacked out, what do you mean by that? State that, what that means for the jury and for the record.
So I can't see anything, but I can hear it. So when I say blackout, I mean I can't visualize it, but I can hear it happening.
Was that the first time that you ever had a blackout?
Yeah,
So it's never happened before that day?
never.
Any idea what caused it on that occasion?
You driving?
No.
Okay.
Stress, shock.
And you stated that you got into a ambulance and with someone who was struck and then left the parade at that point?
A squad car, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, a squad. You left at that point.
Yeah.
Do you recall about what time that was?
No.
Do you recall how long you were with the person being transported at that time?
No, I wasn't worried about time.
Do you recall if anyone was walking directly next to you at the time of the incident?
I was walking next to the girls on my team that got struck.
Do you recall walking next to Sam or Sam walking next to you?
No, she was behind me.
Do you recall making the statement that, and this is, I'm guessing, in a summary report given to Detective Schwartz? Do you recall being interviewed by Detective Schwartz?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you recall making a statement that Samantha was walking next to you?
No, I don't recall that.
Do you recall making a statement that you did not have enough time to tell Sam to move?
Yes.
And this was the same Sam that you just testified that you did not see struck, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I didn't see her hit.
So it would be fair to say that you made the statement that you didn't have enough time to tell her to move, but didn't actually see what happened to her.
Because she was on the same side as me, and that's why I was saying I didn't have enough time to tell her to move, but I wasn't next to her.
Any idea what may have stopped you from being able to see what happened?
Because I blacked out.
At the point that you blacked out, at that point you didn't see anyone struck. Would that be fair to say?
I don't remember exactly the vehicle hitting, but I just remember bodies flying. I think I kind of try to block it out.
This is messed up, man. Like, it's a lot of good people that went to this parade, and like,
Do you recall making a statement that everything...
it's a lot of good people that went to this parade, and you can see like the mental anguish that he's caused to every last one of them. You know, like, this young lady was literally just teaching some kids to dance, and they wanted to show off their dancing skills to their city, and it turned into this. You know, it's really wild.
It happened so fast,
Yes.
but not fast enough for you to identify the vehicle.
Nope. I remember exactly what the vehicle was.
Dude, this has been asked and answered.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any damage at that point?
I was only paying attention to what kind of make it was because I could see the body of it was an SUV, and like I said, I thought it was either the make, like the Mercury, or a Ford, and so I was just paying attention to the emblem when the grill got closer and I saw it was a Ford. I wasn't looking for any damage.
About how close would you estimate the vehicle came to you?
I don't know.
Did it get close to you?
I don't know. I blacked out.
Do you remember what side of the road you were on when you blacked out?
Yeah, I was on, if you are looking at the truck, I was on the left side. So if you're walking in the parade, I was on the left side. But I had turned around, and so I was on the right side because I was looking at the vehicle.
So at what point did your memory go fuzzy?
So I turned around and I saw a car or an SUV, and I told myself, "You're crazy. You don't see that." And then all of a sudden, I don't remember anything. I can hear it, and then after, I remember seeing the bodies. So I would say I blacked out from when I saw the vehicle to after it passed.
Any idea how long that may have been, roughly, if you recall?
A second.
So pretty much like the snap of a finger.
Yeah, because it went by so fast.
And from your recollection, that was quick enough for you to miss anybody being struck.
I blacked out, so I didn't see them physically get hit.
Outside of Detective Schwartz, were you interviewed by any other law enforcement?
No, I only gave that statement, and that was it.
What about at the hospital? Were you interviewed at the hospital?
No, I was not.
Did you call yourself to make a report about what you saw that evening?
No, I went and gave the statement right after I left the hospital, and that was it.
Did you do any follow-up to see if your report was received by anyone in law enforcement?
No.
Did anybody from law enforcement contact you about the statement that you gave?
No.
Do you recall at any time reading or seeing a complaint in this matter? any time filing any claim in this matter?
No. Are you saying with the police department?
Yes, with the police.
Yeah, no. I just gave a statement and that was it.
Would you consider yourself a party to this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained. On relevance grounds.
Do you recall if you were contacted by the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled, she may answer.
Can you say who the plaintiff is?
I'm asking you, are you aware of the plaintiff? Were you contacted by the plaintiff at any time?
I don't know what the plaintiff is.
The plaintiff would be whoever is bringing the claim for the charges in the matter.
So not, then yeah.
Objection.
Yeah, what? You were contacted by the plaintiff?
Objection.
She answered yes. I'll ask the grounds.
An objection, hold on.
Even the judge has to
Objection.
laugh at
Move
this.
to strike
Grounds.
legal analysis,
Grounds.
and the defendant is testified.
Hey, look, in her defense, I had to Google, like, when this all started, I didn't understand what, like, the defense and plaintiff thing was. I really didn't understand what that stuff was until I started doing this. So, like, I completely understand where she's
I'll
coming from
sustain
with that. It's just not...
the objection. Will grant the request to strike the question and the answer for the reasons given by the state. You may rephrase if you'd like.
I know he doesn't like that because he thinks that... But yeah, in all fairness, I didn't understand any of this stuff. Cause like I've never had any experience with the legal system or anything. So
Who were you contacted about testifying?
The state.
And that, I'm assuming the state of Wisconsin, correct?
I just know them as the state, right there.
Right there, as in referring to the prosecution table?
Correct.
To let the record show that she identified the state as the three attorneys at the prosecution table.
No objection.
Record will still reflect.
And do you recall having a conversation with the state?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you would identify the state as the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you ever had any interactions with the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Sustained.
Do you see the plaintiff in the courtroom today?
Same objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
how many
Do you
times
even
can
know
you
if
ask the
there's a
same question?
plaintiff?
Same objection.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Let's find out how many times he can ask the same question. Let's see.
So as far as you know, in your opinion, who would you say is the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection.
Grounds.
I counted 5. I'm not
Sustained.
sure. It's either 5 or 6. It might be more than that, honestly. I don't know.
Were you present at the parade with any family that day?
No.
Just 1 second. And when you visited the hospital, how did you learn of the injuries to any of your dance team partners?
Which hospital are you referring to?
I only heard you say Memorial. You might have said two. I think you said Children's one time too. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that's correct.
I guess I would be referring to Memorial.
So the only injury, well, not even injury, I only knew Julia had something wrong with her brain at the time because they saw spinal fluid coming out of her nose.
Jesus,
And
man.
were you told that directly from a doctor?
I heard them freaking out and rushing her to a CT scan because I was right next to her, helping them as she seized and vomited.
So you overheard from the nurses what the diagnosis was.
Yes.
What about for Sam?
Are you referring to the night of?
Yes, when I'm guessing you saw her at some point that night.
I did not see her that night.
Did you see her at any point?
I did. I was there at the hospital the first day she was able to have a visitor.
And were you told directly by medical professionals at that time that you were able to see her of any possible injuries?
I wasn't told by them. She actually called me.
Can I strike that answer for hearsay?
No, you asked the question.
But the answer was hearsay.
But you asked the question.
She said if you open the door for her, then there it is, you know? This is the most sinister cross-exam. Like, this is awful, man. The headphone keeps slipping out.
In the days after the incident, did you have quite a few interactions with the dance team?
Yeah, we tried to keep ourselves busy and we did a lot of things together.
Did you attend any visuals or any memorials or anything like that?
Yes, I did.
Would you stay for the record and for the jury how many?
I believe it was on Monday. I went to that vigil.
And that would be the only one that you attended?
Yeah, that was the only one they had.
There will be links in the comments to donate to the Waukesha community, by the way. To the victims and to the community.
Were you aware of things set up financially for the victims?
Can you repeat that?
Were you aware of any for example, like GoFundMe's or donations or anything for the victims? Were you aware of anything like that going on in the days after the incident? Grounds. Grounds.
Sustained.
What is the relevance of this? Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's just trying to say, like, are you taking money to be here or something? But what does that stuff have to do with this? Like asking about the vigils and all this. Like this is some evil stuff right now. This is crazy.
You yourself donate to any causes associated with the incident?
I did not.
Are you still currently a member of the dance team?
Can you tell me which one you're referring to?
What is it, stream dance team?
Yeah, I'm not. I do not work there anymore.
I think I know he's. Hold on. Before I jump to conclusions, hold on. I want to hear him say
Was
it.
that decision made by the incident, or was it just a personal decision?
Objection.
Grounds?
Sustained.
You testified earlier to having the blackout and that being the first time that happened. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Have you had any blackouts any time since that day?
No.
First and only time would be that day.
Correct.
No further questions.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Kajewski, with respect to that blackout, you testified that you don't have a visual memory of the SUV actually striking any girls that day. Is that right?
Correct.
You testified, however, that you remember what it sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
Describe that.
Yes, sorry. Yes, so it sounded like those big orange construction cones just being hit. That's what I remember it as.
You do have a visual memory of the immediate aftermath of the strike?
I do.
And what is that memory?
Objection. Hearsay.
You may answer. It's overruled.
Just pure chaos. Shoes everywhere, palms everywhere, bodies, people screaming, running around. Just chaos.
When asked on cross-examination what caused your blackout, you said stress and shock. You remember giving that testimony?
Yes.
At any time in your life before November 21st of 2021, had you ever witnessed an SUV drive through a group of young women?
Objection.
No.
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled. You may answer.
No.
What about any time since November 21st, 2021?
Objection. Relevancy.
Overruled.
No.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you. You may step down. She may.
Thank you. Call Jamie Sutton.
That was by far the most sinister thing, to hear this dude cross-examine her like that. Like, it's just wild. Especially after hearing her, like, describe what happened when she initially came up here. Like, I had to take a break after that one because I was fighting
Good
back
afternoon.
tears hearing that
Ms.
stuff.
Sutton, if you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right up one riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my clerk Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
I didn't catch the name of this person. Let me see.
She's right here. Oh, that's okay.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Thank you. Please have a seat. The first thing I would like you to do is to state your first and last names for the record, and then spell each.
First name, Jamie Sutton, Jainie
M-I-E, last name Sutton, S-U-T-T-O-N.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Thank you. Ms. Sutton, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Do you have an affiliate, or have you ever had an affiliation with the Extreme Dance Group here in Waukesha?
Yes, I worked there last year.
How long did you work for Extreme?
From May of 2021 to April of 2022.
What was your role with the organization?
I was a coach for the junior team.
What's the approximate age range of the junior team?
About 8 to 11 years old.
How many people were part of that group, the junior group?
10.
Okay. And did you participate with your dance team in the Waukesha Christmas Parade on November 21st of last year?
Yes.
You yourself were actually present for the parade?
Yes.
Did you attend as spectators or did you march in the parade?
I marched in the parade.
With your girls?
Yes.
Do you remember approaching the 5 Points intersection?
Yes.
Do you remember what happened at that intersection?
A car drove along my left side.
I'm going to ask to put up for the jury exhibit number 15, which has previously been received and published.
Go ahead.
Okay, do you see the screen in front of you?
Yes.
You see a group of names in a green box, at the bottom of which is titled Waukesha Extreme Dance.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the names in that list? You can take a few moments to read through it if you'd like.
Yes.
And the black line connecting that box to a star, you see that?
Yes.
Does that star accurately represent the approximate location where you and your girls were when the car came through your group?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask that we display Exhibit 32 and publish it. It's previously been received and admitted. Excuse me, published.
Go ahead.
This is 1 minute and 23. We're not going to play the whole thing. Ms. Sutton, what I'd like to do is to play this from the beginning, and then at a certain point I'll pause it, and I'm going to ask you to see if you see yourself on the video. Okay?
Okay.
So we're just going to take a look at this from the beginning. Pause, please. We've paused at the 43-second mark. Do you see yourself on the screen?
Yes.
So that's a touch screen in front of you. Can you use your finger and circle yourself for us? Okay, so what's on your head?
I have a gray hat on.
Gotcha. Okay, we can clear that, please. We'll continue watching from that point. Pause. We've paused at the 57-second mark. Based on the video that we've seen so far in this exhibit, did it appear to you as though the girls were maintaining their position in the group?
Yes.
Okay. Can we display for the witness exhibit number 33 and publish this as well, please? It's previously been admitted and published.
Go ahead.
I would like you, Ms. Sutton, to please take a few minutes or moments and look at this exhibit. Read all the names. Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
The boxes with names in them, are they accurately represented in this diagram based on where they were in the formation in real life?
Yes.
Okay. I now would like to play for the witness only exhibit number 36, please.
Go ahead.
So we've played about 11 seconds for you there. Do you recognize that video?
Yes.
Have you seen it before?
Yes.
What does it show?
It shows a car hitting some of our girls.
Is that video an accurate depiction of how the events unfolded that day?
Yes.
I'd move exhibit 36 into evidence and ask for permission to publish.
Exhibit 36 is received. Permission to publish is granted. May I please have the total length of the video?
This is 29 seconds. We're going to play from the beginning, and we're going to turn the audio on.
Your Honor, is the video playing at the right speed?
My understanding it will be.
We'll double check for Mr. Brooks. Can we make sure that we've got it at 100%? Yep.
It just wasn't. It had to be turned up. So that means when it was just showed, it wasn't playing at the right speed.
I think I can just very simply clarify. To adjust the speed, you have to change it to see what it's set at. So it was at 100%, and it is now back at 100%.
Thank you.
I object to that for the record. Clearly wasn't at the right speed.
The record reflects the statement made by Attorney Wichow regarding the speed, and the court accepts that. Go ahead.
And the objection.
Okay, I'd like to go back to the beginning of that, please. We're going to pause, please. We're going to slow that down, Ms. Sutton, and I'd like you, at a certain point, we're going to pause, and if possible, if you can, I'd like you to identify some people in the frame for us, okay?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to play from the beginning at, can we reduce it, please, to 40%? And turn the sound off. Okay, we'll play from the beginning. Pause. Paused at 12 seconds. How many people do you see laying on the ground, Ms. Sutton?
I see one person laying on the ground in this frame.
And can you circle them for us? Who is that?
That is Vivian
What's her last name?
Ural.
That has to preserve the annotation, mark it as Exhibit 36A, and enter it into the evidence, please.
I hear somebody crying.
The annotation will be captured. It will be marked as 36A. It is received.
Could we please remove the annotation? And could we go frame by frame for a few frames here? So we've stopped at 12-second timestamp. At the moment that the SUV first made contact with your group, where were you in relation to the rest of the group?
I was towards the back right side of the group.
Right,
looking
as
under
in
us.
standing in the road and looking down the parade route?
Yes.
Okay. Based on your position in the road and your memory from that day, are you able to identify anybody else who's depicted in the video at this point?
I believe that's Olivia Stover in the left.
And what color is her hair?
Brown.
Could you please circle Olivia for us? And that's to preserve that annotation and mark it as Exhibit 36B and to enter it into evidence, please.
Face.
Your objections noted. 36B is received, and the annotation will be captured and preserved for the record.
We can take that down now, please.
It's to the point now
Ms.
where
Sutton, can you walk us through
every time he speaks, I'm literally disgusted. Like,
your memory of what happened as the SUV began to go through your group?
Yes, I was in the back right with some of our younger teams and was helping them get in their formation. And I heard some yelling behind me, some screaming, and I looked over my left shoulder. And just as I looked over my left shoulder, there was a red car that drove through. By the time I looked, it was already hitting our girls.
What happened next?
Girls that were not injured started to run over to the sidewalk. So I started to gather them all in one area.
What happened next?
I tried to reunite those that I could with their parents. Those that I couldn't, I took with me, and I heard there was an active shooter. So we went into Chef Pam's kitchen and hid out there until we were told it was all clear to go to our cars.
Chef Pam's Kitchen is a business, a storefront on Main Street?
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
After that, I went to my car, went to the hospital, and did my police statements.
In the immediate aftermath after the SUV came through your group, did you at any point see a person named Charlotte Urell?
Not that day.
Okay. You know who Charlotte Urell is?
Yes.
Can you explain for us her relationship to the extreme dance group?
Overruled. You may answer.
She is the older sister of two of the Waukesha extreme dancers.
Was she with your group in the parade?
Yes, she was handing out candy.
Okay. And you said you didn't see Charlotte that day. When did you next see her?
Well, I saw her that day before the parade started, but I didn't see her in the aftermath.
Okay. When did you see her after the SUV went through the group? When's the next time you saw Charlotte Urell?
Weeks later at the dance studio.
Okay. And did you make any observations of Charlotte at that time?
She was on crutches.
Do you know why she was on crutches?
She was hit by the car that drove through.
During the parade?
Yes.
The red SUV we saw in the videos you watched?
Yes.
Okay. What about Grayson Urell? Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Who's that?
He is the younger brother of two of the Waukesha extreme dancers.
Did you see Grayson Urell marching with your group during the Christmas parade?
Yes.
Before the SUV came through the group?
Yes.
Did you see Grayson Urell at any point after the SUV came through?
Not that day.
When is the next time after the SUV came through your group that you saw Grayson?
Weeks later when he was discharged from the hospital after being hit from the red SUV.
Okay. And what personal observations did you make of Grayson at that time?
He had a large cast on his arm. I believe he might have been in a wheelchair or crutches.
Can you describe for us the uniform that your girls were wearing that day?
They were wearing black leggings, black Waukesha Extreme jackets, white Santa hats with light-up headbands attached to them, white light-up gloves, and white pom-poms.
Could we please display for the witness only exhibit number 102?
Oh, look at this face he's making. What is wrong with this dude, man?
Ms. Sutton, just let me know when you see the screen, okay? Okay. What are we looking at here?
This is a red SUV that is smashed up. And there's a white light-up headband on what used to be the side mirror.
Do you recognize that white light-up headband?
Yes.
What is it?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer.
That is one of the headbands that was over our girls' white Santa hats.
Is this photo an accurate depiction of how that headband looked the day of the parade?
Yes.
Before? Yeah. Obviously, it's not on anybody's head right now.
Yes.
Okay. I move exhibit 102 into evidence and ask for permission to publish.
The court's going to withhold receiving exhibit 102 until further foundation can be laid. So permission to publish is denied at this point.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for this witness?
Yeah.
He's breathing like this a chore for him.
Do you recall what time you arrived at the parade that evening?
The parade started at 4. I believe I was there around 3:30.
Did you come with anybody, or?
I came with Alyssa.
Would it be fair to say that you guys are pretty close?
Yes.
Do you recall giving a statement to Detective Schwartz?
I gave a statement to a deputy. I don't know their name.
Do you recall at what time that was, roughly after the incident?
It was around 6:30 that night.
Do you remember where you were when you gave the statement?
It was at the transit center, the Waukesha Transit Center.
And when did you first notice a vehicle approaching?
I heard screaming and yelling behind me, and that was when I looked over my left shoulder.
Do you recall how close the vehicle was to you at the time where you looked over your left shoulder?
It was on the left side, and I was on the far right, so it wasn't very close to me.
Were you able to identify any driver of the vehicle?
No.
Would it be fair to say that you referred to it, the vehicle, numerous times as car?
Yes.
Would it also be fair to say that you then identified it as an SUV?
Yes.
So what exactly did you see? What type of vehicle did you actually see, an SUV or a car?
It was an SUV.
Any reason why you would refer to it as car?
I refer to all cars as just cars, no matter what they are. If it's a truck, it's still a car.
would it be fair to say that certain vehicles look different than others?
Absolutely.
Dude, don't sit up here and laugh, bro. Like, I'm... All right.
At what point do you recall hearing that there may have been an active shooter?
Could you repeat that question?
At what point do you recall hearing that there may be an active shooter?
When I was gathering the girls who hadn't been hit, a man came up to me and said that there was an active shooter amongst all of that.
Do you recall if that was somebody marching in a parade or a spectator, or
I'm not sure.
were they any law enforcement?
No.
Did you hear any shots?
No.
And where did you go from there after you were informed that there may be an active shooter?
I went into Chef Pam's kitchen.
Did you go in there alone, or?
No, people were piling in there, and I had several girls with me, several dancers with me.
You were shown a few videos. Do you recall seeing those before today?
Yes.
How many times have you seen them before today?
At least 10 times.
So pretty frequently you've seen them.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you saw those numerous times to maybe bring back something you couldn't recall?
Yes.
You stay for the record and for the jury, who showed you these videos multiple times?
They were sent to me.
So that would be, were they sent via email or
Over text message.
text messages?
Yeah.
And can you stay for the record and for the jury who the text messages were sent from?
Alyssa.
So they weren't sent by any law enforcement or?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, can you recall how Alyssa was able to obtain the videos that you saw today?
I'm not sure.
So she never mentioned that to you in any way at any time?
No.
Were you able to identify the driver?
No.
Were you able to identify a license plate number?
No.
Were you injured during the incident in any way?
No.
Did you go to the hospital after the event?
Yes.
Were you transported there, or did you drive there yourself, or?
My fiance drove me there.
Do you recall how long you stayed at the hospital?
Not long. I was told just to go give a police statement.
So it would be fair to say that you went to the hospital strictly for the police statement purposes?
I went to the hospital to see if the girls that I had unaccounted for were at the hospital.
And were you able to gain the information that you were seeking?
Yes.
So that would explain the brief stay at the hospital?
Yes.
Did you learn any additional information at that point?
Nope.
I'm waiting for the sovereign citizen questions. We know those are coming.
Do you recall in the statement that you gave to Detective Schwartz that you observed people running towards the sidewalk?
Yes.
Did you see anyone on the sidewalk struck by the vehicle?
No.
But he's basically reading off these questions and then throws his sovereign citizen stuff on at the end. So he just
Do you recall
waits
stating
for
that you were waiting inside of a building for what seemed like a long time?
Yes.
And what would you estimate time-wise what time frame that would be?
Probably.
Just object here and ask for clarification about what building we're talking about.
Sustain us to the form of the question, please rephrase.
Well, from the report, it just says they needed to seek shelter inside of a building, so it doesn't say the name of the building in the report. I guess that's why I didn't refer to a specific name of the building.
Just ask your question, Mr. Brooks. Please rephrase.
How long would you estimate you seek shelter?
Probably around an hour.
And did you immediately leave from that point?
I made sure all of my girls were reunited with their parents and family members. And once they were all reunited, then I left.
Do you recall giving a written statement?
Yes.
Do you recall who you gave the written statement to?
No.
Do you recall in your written statement saying that it seemed as if something was wrong with the vehicle?
Yes.
And what would you, from your recollection, what would you say was wrong with the vehicle?
It was going very fast. I thought maybe there was brake failure happening because it was going so fast.
And what made you come to that conclusion?
Because there was a car driving through a parade instead of slowly rolling through like the other vehicles.
So it'd be fair to say your initial thought was something was wrong with the vehicle.
Yes.
Did you see any smoking from the vehicle, any damage to the vehicle at that point?
No.
Did you observe where the vehicle went after it passed you?
No.
Did you see anyone struck after the vehicle passed you?
Yes.
But to the best of your recollection, you don't recall what the vehicle did after it passed you?
Correct.
you say it was pretty loud that night?
Yes.
Pretty windy, cold?
Yes.
After you had been waiting in the building for a while, who came and informed you guys that it was okay to leave at that point?
It was police that came and told us we were clear to go.
Was it one officer, a couple
Just
of
one.
them? Two of them?
Just one.
You don't recall their names by chance?
No.
At that point, did you ask the police officers for any information about the active shooter?
No.
About what time would you estimate that you left the parade?
After I got the all clear,
Do you recall what time that was?
I do not recall.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I do not recall.
You can always tell when he starts getting
Were you
close to
close
the
enough
end.
to the vehicle to make out the make and model of the vehicle?
No.
But you can tell when he starts getting close to the end of his questions because the sovereign citizen stuff starts to come out. It looks like we're not at that point yet, but
Do you recall any windows being down or anything like that?
No.
Do you recall anything being tossed from the vehicle, falling out of the vehicle?
No.
So it's just pretty much just moving straight.
Yes.
About how long would you approximate you watched the travel of the vehicle after it had passed you?
I didn't watch the vehicle after it went past me. I was looking at the dancers on the ground.
So it would be fair to say that once the vehicle passed you, you couldn't see if it struck anyone else at that point.
Correct.
No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. You may step down. She may.
both of those girls, both of those young ladies, I'm not gonna call them girls and stuff, extremely strong to come up here, and they had to actually watch
Please
the
call your
footage
next
back
witness.
of
State calls
everything that just
Detective
happened.
Mike Carpenter.
Wild stuff. And he didn't ask the sovereign citizen stuff this time. At least I don't think he did. He probably did. But let's see who the next witness is gonna be. It should be coming up here.
afternoon, Detective. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is to my right.
Oh, we got a
When you get
detective.
there, please remain
again.
standing. Raise your right hand. My clerk, Teresa, who's on my left, will swear you in.
See, this is somebody we've seen before.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please have a
That's a
seat.
new one.
First thing I will have you do is to state your first and last names for the record and spell each.
Michael Carpenter, first name spelled Michael, last name spelled Carpenter.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Detective, what do you do for a living?
I'm a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
How long have you been a detective?
I've been a detective for approximately 12 years,
How long total in service with the Waukesha Police Department?
approximately 20 years.
Is that your first job, Waukesha Police Department?
I worked a brief stint for about 6 months each at the Town of Brookfield Police Department part-time and the Town of Merton Lake Patrol part-time before moving on to the City of Waukesha.
What is your current assignment as a detective?
I'm in the computer forensics unit.
What type of things do you do in that unit?
Analyze digital data, digital video recorders, cell phones, regular computers, pretty much anything that can hold digital media.
Okay. Did you conduct a speed analysis in this case?
Yes, I did.
Can you walk us through when you set out to conduct a speed analysis? First of all, what is it, and how do you go about conducting that analysis?
Basically, throughout reviewing video for this incident, we wanted to determine if there was a way to get an accurate speed from the red SUV. I've been through some training, certified as an input ACE examiner. That's a software we use. And we determined that there were cameras that existed along the parade route on West Main Street that may have held useful information. Specifically, we were looking for surveillance video that was still in its native proprietary format, that would still hold that metadata that would let us conduct a speed analysis. I did locate Bosco's Social Club, which is a bar located at 260 West Main Street in the City of Waukesha, that had a proprietary format that I believe that let us do that analysis.
How many cameras were affixed to the Bosco's storefront?
There were two, one on the southwest side of the building and one on the southeast, at least that we used. I believe they also have video inside and towards the rear of the establishment, but we were concerned with the cameras facing West Main Street.
So once you get the surveillance video, what do you do with it?
I viewed the video to determine if it would be suitable. The video was, in my opinion, pretty high quality. I could see the vehicle clearly traveling westbound on West Main Street, so we believe that we'd be able to explore that further and try to conduct the analysis from that.
So what did you do?
The next step was we had to determine what an accurate frame rate was for the camera. Most surveillance systems have what's called a variable frame rate. In defining a frame, basically a video is a series of still images or frames put together to show motion. However, that can vary from frame to frame. That timing may not be exactly the same. We went down to Bosco's and placed a device in front of each camera called a VFR light board that's supplied and calibrated by the company Input Ace. We placed it in front of each camera, and that board's got a series of flashing lights that have timing in them. Recorded a video of that board from each camera, and then returned to my forensic lab and placed that into the Input Ace software, and we were able to calculate the timing more accurately between each frame, so we had a more scientific approach to it.
And what did you do with that information?
Once I had that information, let me back up. Prior to having that information, I had also asked Specialist Plata of our Criminal Evidence Forensics Unit, our traditional forensics, to respond to the area of Bosco's and use the department's, it's called FARO, F-A-R-O, their 3D laser crime scene mapping device. They mapped various points in front of Bosco's, and we were able to basically find the orientation and the position that the eastbound camera was facing. And then once that was done, we could take a screenshot of that 3D scan, which measures my understanding is millions of points. Once I had that done, I was able to bring that into Input A software to begin the overlay process where I could overlay the images on top of each other. So we brought the screenshot of the 3D scan in, brought a partial video in of the red SUV traveling westbound. It began to compare points from the 3D scan and the video, and began to plot those points. For instance, a intersecting crack in the sidewalk. If I could see it in the 3D scan, I would plot that point and then match it up in the video.
Wow.
Did that over a number of points, and then that enables us to lay the video identically on top of the 3D scan.
See, okay, I'm really glad that they brought this dude up here. This is super, super, super detailed stuff. Even though I don't really understand what he's saying, I'm just glad that they brought him up here, because Darrell can't try the thing that he used with prior witnesses, asking them, you know, how would you be able to tell how fast the vehicle was going, you know? Like, how would you even know something like that if you're not inside the car? Well, I'm interested to see if he's going to try that here. I'm sure... Will he? Okay, we're just going to have to see. We'll see.
Once that was complete, then that's where we started bringing in the lightboard video to find out the timing, to find out how many milliseconds or seconds passed in this incident. In this particular video, I was concerned with frames 35 through 60 of that vehicle traveling westbound. Once I obtained the timing from the VFR lightboard, I determined that, with the assistance of the software, that the average was 0.834 seconds had passed in those 25 frames that that vehicle, or I'm sorry, 26 frames that that vehicle continued westbound. What that does, it then gives me a low end and a high end that I can use for a margin of error. So it said the longest time it would take for the vehicle to travel westbound through those 26 frames would be 0.838 seconds, and the quickest time that it could pass through those 26 frames would be 0.830 seconds. Once I had that information, I was able to completely overlay the video onto the 3D scan, and I could start at frame 35, and it enables me to overlay it within the 3D scanning software, and I was able to drop a small point. The clearest point of reference in this view, as there were people around and other things in the area, I was able to pick the front passenger's wheel and drop a point directly in the center of that wheel, advance frame by frame until I was at frame 60, drop another point, and then I can use a slider to go back and forth to either have the vehicle present or just the 3D scanning. Once I had just the 3D scanning, then I could take and measure the distance from that first point in frame 35 to the last point in frame 60, and then I was able to calculate that. I was able to input that in with the different measurements of 0.838 seconds and the 0.830. When I did that within the software, it told me that the distance was 12.7477 meters. When I converted that to feet, I believe it was 41.8231 feet. That allowed me to compare that with the fastest that the vehicle could travel and the slowest that the vehicle could travel. And with the margin of error, convert that to feet per second and then miles per hour, which came up with a measurement for those 26 frames of 33.7 to 34.6 miles per hour in those particular frames.
Can we project
way too fast for a parade route? Yo, that was amazing. He's laying all the details out. Okay, I'm so interested for the cross exam. He's probably just gonna leave that question out altogether. Like, after that entire thing that we just heard, I'm pretty sure he's just not even gonna have that question. He's not even gonna ask him that.
Jury exhibit number 15, which has previously been received and published.
We'll see.
Go ahead.
He's probably scratching it out right there as we speak.
Recognize the area on the map depicted in Exhibit 15?
Yes, it's the 5 points intersection area of downtown Waukesha.
The screen in front of you is a touch screen. Could you just draw a small little X to depict where the approximate location of Bosco's is?
I believe it's going to be roughly right about here.
So north side of Main Street?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't think we need to save that. We'll just say it's an X between the 5 Points intersection and Gasper Street on Main. So we'll clear that and take that down. And now can we please project for the witness and for the jury exhibit number 31, which I think that's also been received and published. And it has, yep. Okay, you see the screen in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Is this the video from Bosco's that you have been talking about today?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start at about the 10-second timestamp. Now you were talking about 26 frames, I think you said?
Yes.
Okay. Let's slow this down to about 50%, please. And we'll play from this point.
9 seconds?
Sorry, yes, 9 seconds. Pause. We have paused at 16 seconds. So you're basically measuring what? Walk us through the screen here. What are you measuring?
So as soon as the red SUV came into view of the video traveling westbound, once I had a frame where there was no obstruction, I could see the full passenger side tire. That's where I dropped my first point, and then I let the SUV continue westbound until I found another spot where there was no obstruction. Now, when I overlaid it between the 3D software and the video I have here, during this video there's no foliage on the branches. During the 3D scan there is foliage, so that blocked a little bit, so I had to stop a little earlier than what I wanted. But I was just basically measuring how far that SUV or that wheel traveled during those frames in that amount of time.
Okay, so you're measuring distance and time.
Yes.
And from that you're calculating speed.
Yes.
And you've already talked about the different variables that you took into consideration, right?
Yes.
And that resulted in, what's your ultimate conclusion?
33.7 to 34.6 miles per hour.
And the 26 frames that you're talking about, they are in this video?
Yes.
Okay, let's just play from the 16-second mark. Pause. And we've stopped at the 17-second mark. So the 26 frames are entirely within that 9 second to 17 seconds.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
What is Darrell even going to ask this dude? He's probably not going to ask him.
Very, very briefly.
He's probably just going to discredit his work history or something.
You stated earlier that in reference to traveling through frames that sometimes you may encounter problems with the estimation. Would that be fair to say?
No, I don't believe that was my testimony.
You testified to at one point or another that sometimes exact timing of speed could be a little inaccurate.
No, I don't believe that properly characterizes.
Are you referring to the margin of error? I think he thinks that means
What were you
like there's.
referring to at that?
I was referring to that digital video recording systems, surveillance systems, they use something that's called variable frame rate. I can't say that every single one does, but almost all of them do. That from frame to frame, it could change by a millisecond, hundreds of milliseconds. To do this the most accurate scientific way possible, that's why we conducted it the way we did with the variable frame rate board.
So there can be sometimes miscalculations. Is that fair to say?
I don't believe so in the way we performed it, no.
Well, I was referring to the process in general, which you just stated that sometimes by milliseconds, hundreds of milliseconds, a millisecond, that sometimes there can be miscalculation.
I'm not sure I'm completely understanding the question. Are you asking in this specific example or just in general?
The process in general.
Somebody conducting an analysis a completely different way, it's possible, but in this analysis from my training experience is the most scientifically possible way we can do it.
I knew once he heard the words margin of error, he probably was thinking like, oh, well, that must mean that there's a possibility that everything went wrong, or like they got the calculations completely wrong when they were coming to this assessment or something. Like I knew he was probably going to say this.
Before this occasion, had you used the
Or
same
they were
method
coming to
that
this
you
conclusion,
used for this
I mean.
occasion?
Yes.
How many times?
I had not used it in a live case yet. This was our first chance to do this, but I'd done it a number of times in our training examples.
But the first time you've done it in a live case?
Yes.
Can you state for the jury what is the difference between a live case and any other case?
There really is no difference. The training examples are hands-on, and the process we follow through all those examples to establish competency is exactly the same way we'd do it for any other investigation.
So if they're pretty much the same, why is it a need for the title live if they're pretty much the same?
It was just a term I used to say this was the first investigation we've used it in.
So were the other cases just pretty standard cases then, not live investigations?
They were training examples that came from actual investigations that those agencies gave permission for their case files and their data to be shared as a training example and to recreate their examinations.
So they weren't active investigations to the best of your knowledge?
Correct. They were adjudicated.
So this time that you used this technology was the first time to your knowledge that it was during a live investigation?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that that's like the first time it's being used?
In the city of Waukesha or in general? I'm not sure I'm understanding.
Is it fair to say that this specific investigation was the first time that you've used it?
Did I personally use the software or that
Yes.
somebody has used it?
You.
This was the first time I personally used the software, as our agency recently purchased it, and this was the first case we were able to use it on.
And so would it be fair to say that usually anyone's first time using new technology, there would be a learning curve? Would that be fair to say?
I would say no.
So you would say you came right into using this new technology the first time you've ever personally used it and knew exactly how to work it?
I would say over my career, especially with conducting digital forensic examinations, I had over 1,500 hours of training in various aspects. I'm a certified trainer. I hold a certified forensic computer examiner certification through the International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists, along with other certifications as well. I obtained multiple certifications from Input-Ace, the company that put on the training for this process, for this device, for video analysis, and we tend to follow principles throughout all the different disciplines, and the training's quite intensive, quite difficult, so over that time you develop the skills necessary to be able to start using software, using your techniques to do these investigations right away.
You're stating some pretty nice credentials there, but you also just said that there's some difficulty in the training. Would any of that difficulty lean towards the learning curve of working the software?
In my opinion, for myself, no.
So you pretty much can come into new technology and just know exactly how to.
He has 20
work
years
it
of
and just ready to
experience,
go.
man.
Grounds.
Overruled, he may answer it.
This particular, if we're talking strictly about video analysis, I attended a 40-hour class using the software Input Ace along with forensic video analysis at the National Computer Forensic Institute, run by the Secret Service in Alabama. And then I also obtained several certifications through Input Ace themselves. So having approximately 80 hours in training through the video software, this was not much of a learning curve, as I had previously been using Input Ace software for approximately 2 years.
So this new technology was a variation of, well, let me back up a bit. What you're saying is this new technology was a variation of technology that you had already previously been using.
Objection. This characterizes the evidence.
Grounds.
This is not new technology.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
You may re-ask.
Dude, you should end this cross-exam immediately.
Before using this technology in this live investigation, as you coined it, have you previously heard of this technology before using it in this live investigation?
Yes.
Any idea how long it may have been being used before you used it?
To my best knowledge, it's been around for several years. We first started investigating it in approximately January.
January of 2022?
Yes.
You are aware that this live investigation would have been a live investigation in November of 2021. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
So it will also be fair to say that if your department didn't start using this technology until January of 2022, how were you able to use it in November of 2021?
This was not conducted in November of 2021. Once we learned about methods when we were trying to locate a more scientific way to do a speed analysis, I discovered this method, the training that the company put on. We had to obtain budgetary funds. It was approximately $4,000. Then we had to schedule the training. The training was supposed to be earlier in the spring, and a couple of the instructors came down with COVID, so the classes got pushed back to summer. They had provided me with all the online training videos so that I could go through, watch those, start prepping myself as much as I could, and then this summer we actually had the class with the hands-on examples, and that's when they provided the certification, and after that is when we actually went out and were able to do the speed analysis based on the videos that we had from November 21st.
So the bulk of your learning to work this technology was done via video.
Video and live instruction.
And that live instruction was in the summer, as you stated, correct?
Some of it was, they don't do it all in one segment, so it was completed with an instructor between, I believe, May and the beginning of August.
So when did you, around what time did you do this analysis?
I believe I performed the actual analysis somewhere around the middle of August. I can't remember the exact date.
So pretty recent.
Yes.
Any idea why so long, considering that this matter has been going on for roughly a year?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Grounds.
In the last 3 to 5 minutes.
Grounds.
Overruled, he may answer.
We just wanted to make sure that we had all the proper equipment, the proper training, all the proper documentation, certifications for myself and the device before we went out and did the actual analysis.
So your department thought it would be best to hold off on the analysis until you got everything in order?
Yes, until we had the certifications to make sure they were valid.
Would it be fair to say that that's a pretty lengthy amount of time to wait to do an analysis in a case that's a pretty big case?
No, I would not say that.
Have you ever had that sort of delay before in any other live investigations?
I can't recall specifically if there's been something that delayed our analysis of another piece of evidence, another investigation, but there is a delay to sometimes purchasing equipment for a new piece of technology or a new type of training. When we start talking about digital forensics, we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars for equipment, and often anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 for a week long of training for something particular.
So there's a delay because of the financial part of the investigations, or I'm not sure I'm getting with.
Sometimes there can be.
Any idea how that might apply to this live investigation?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
How the financial part of the equipment,
to this
and as
investigation.
you
What do
said,
you?
sometimes things can get expensive. Would that apply to this live investigation of why the delay was so long?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes, I believe in January, again, is when we first started looking at this. We had to obtain the funding, schedule the training, wait for the company to host the training, and all those things before we were ready to proceed with it.
Do you recall who you were referred to do the analysis?
As far as
basically who tapped you to do it? I'm quite sure you're not the only person that does what you does out of your department. Would that be fair to say?
no, that would not be fair. I am currently right now the only one certified in forensic video analysis.
So who tapped you to be the video analysis for this particular case?
I was the only one at our agency that would be able to perform that at this time.
Who contacted your agency?
Detective Casey.
And
I remember Detective Casey.
who does Detective Casey work for, from your knowledge?
City Waukesha Police Department.
To the best of your knowledge, was Detective Casey made aware that it would be a long delay before the analysis can get completed?
Yes, we had discussions about it.
Was Detective Casey informed that it would be such a lengthy delay? Grounds.
Overruled. You may answer.
Not initially. Again, this was supposed to be done a lot earlier in the year. However, due to the limited number of classes they have scheduled, where they're scheduled, and the fact that COVID unfortunately canceled a couple of the classes, that did increase the delay, which I did have conversations with Detective Casey about, advising him that it would be a little bit longer.
Were there any, I guess I would say, suggestions that maybe you could use a different technology that wouldn't have caused such a long delay?
Not for video analysis, no.
So what video analysis were you doing before this new technology that you just started using?
This technology was specific to speed analysis.
So there was no technology specific to speed analysis before this new technology?
Not that I'm trained in, no.
So would there have been someone else tapped to do the analysis if it wasn't for this new method?
I was concerned with video analysis, and I'm the only one at our agency that can conduct video analysis at this time. As far as other methods outside of digital forensics or forensic video analysis, I wouldn't have any expertise or knowledge to speak on those.
I'm a little confused because do you do video and speed analysis or one of the other? Because you just stated, and I think it would be fair to ask, did you just not state that this was pertaining to speed analysis.
Yes, I do video analysis for all types of cases, whatever is requested. I am trained to measure speed from strictly video analysis. I am not trained to estimate speed through other means of investigation.
So how were you able to come up with an analysis of the speed in this investigation?
Based on the technique that I described earlier in my testimony of using the 3D scanning software, overlaying the video of the suspect vehicle traveling westbound on Main Street, plotting the points, and then measuring the distance over the time.
Was there any other method? Well, let me back up. Was there any other technology that you could have utilized that same method without a delay?
Objection asked.
Ground.
Sustained.
You stated that you've done speed analysis numerous times. Would that be fair to say?
In what regards? In what example?
To any cases before this one?
In training examples, not in an investigation done by our agency.
So it'd be fair to say you yourself haven't done very many speed analysis.
I couldn't give you a firm number of how many we did in training over that time, but no,
Not we, you. I'm asking specific to you yourself.
outside of this current investigation, I have not currently performed any for any other agency yet, no.
So would it be fair to say that maybe you could have been off on a few of your
What are
analysis,
you doing? What is
being
this,
that it was
bro?
your first time doing it in a live investigation, as you coined it?
No, I would not say that.
Grounds.
Hold on.
What he's
What's the objection?
could you maybe have
Calls for
gotten it wrong,
speculation
please?
and argumentative.
Could you please say you got it wrong?
Better grounds than that.
Mr. Brooks, what was your question again?
My question was that would it be fair to say that since he's stated that this was his first time doing a speed analysis in a live investigation, and he hadn't done, pretty much haven't done it before, would it be fair to say that maybe he could have been off a little bit on his calculations?
But
being
this
that it was
isn't his first time doing this, though.
Overruled. He may answer.
I would say no to that. With this, again, we're following the premise of digital forensics. It's a scientific process. We learn a technique. We follow the process. We follow the standards. It's designed to be verifiable and repeatable by anybody else that would have that training and that software performant. The files can be turned over to another person with equal training, and they should be able to walk step by step and still come to the same conclusion. So I would say I'm confident in the speed that was obtained.
So if someone else can come to the same conclusions that you came to, is it fair to say that someone else a little more experienced could have been tapped to do the speed analysis instead of yourself?
We didn't have anybody more experienced in this area or our agency for this particular method.
Is it possible that a different agency could have been tapped to do the speed analysis?
This is outside of the witness's
Grounds.
personal knowledge.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Besides yourself, do you know of anybody that can do this analysis and come to the same conclusions as yourself?
I know of the company that provided the training. Other than that, I do not know anybody personally in this area or other investigators to use this specific technique.
Would it be fair to say that you weren't the only one being trained through video and the like?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
You stated that you had to be trained in this form of doing the analysis. You stated the classes were, I think, from somewhere from May to August, you stated. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
What I'm asking is, were you the only person that was taking those classes?
There were people from other countries, other states, wide ranges of specialties, paralegals, accident reconstructionists, forensic investigators, things of that nature.
Anybody in Wisconsin that you know of?
Not that I know of, no.
From any other departments that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of.
So it would be fair to say that you're not sure.
I don't know who has exactly what piece of software in each location, but I have not heard of anybody else in this area having the ability to do the speed analysis through video.
So it would be fair to say you're not sure.
In this
As
cross
to-
exam already.
Could you clarify one more time, please?
I was pretty direct.
Mr. Brooks
As far,
He doesn't understand your question, that's why he's asking.
did you know of anyone else that was taking the same training to operate the same
This is Aston S
equipment
like
and
crazy.
technology that you were?
Personally, no, if that's what you're asking.
So it would be fair to say that you're not sure.
I can say with confidence that nobody in the classes that I was enrolled in were from the state of Wisconsin. There were people from other countries, other states. That's really all I would know about that. I don't.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
Typically during our classes, we go through an introduction, where we work, where we're from, where we work, who we work for.
So it was kind of like, because you did state that they were kind of like video, so I'm assuming that would be online. Would that be fair to say?
It was live online training, yes.
So it would pretty much be like a classroom from an online setting.
Objection asked and answered, and I would, relevance.
Grounds.
It's been asked and answered, so sustain. Next question.
About how long did it take when you started to do the analysis? How long did it take from the point that you started into completion?
To put everything together, and granted, it wasn't worked on all at the same time because we had to do the camera overlay. We had to go get the readings from the variable frame light board and then start putting all that together. I would say hours wise, I would say probably someplace between 20 and 24 hours to put it all together.
So about roughly a day.
Well, work days probably 3 days or so.
And would it be any reason why if you knew that you were being certified for that analysis, would it be any reason why you wouldn't start getting things in place beforehand to be ready to go as soon as you needed to be ready to go?
I had the surveillance videos that we were using from Bosco Social Club in place. I asked Specialist Platt and Specialist Schmidt to assist with the 3D scanning prior to having the last certification in place, so that everything was there and ready to go once I had that certification.
So it would be fair to say that you had help in getting everything ready.
With the 3D scan,
Were you at any time trained in the 3D scanning?
I am not currently trained in the operation of the Faro. That's why I requested Specialist Platt and Specialist Schmidt to perform that scan.
Do you know if those two specialists, I missed the name, so I don't want to butcher them, so I'm just not going to say it, but it'd be fair to say it was two. Would that
Yes.
be fair? Were any of those two trained in the same speed analysis training as yourself?
No, they are trained in forensic crime scene mapping using the 3D scanner, not digital forensics or video analysis.
Would it be fair to say that even though they are not trained in the same area as yourself, that they were an essential key part to putting everything together?
The 3D scanning software is an essential function to be able to perform this particular analysis, yes.
What is the relevance of any of these questions right now? Like, I don't even know And he does this a lot. He starts going into these areas, and I'm like, okay, what's the point of even getting into these details? Like, you'd think he just end the cross exam, but he's asking a bunch of pointless stuff.
So it would have been. It's fair to say it would have been a task if you would have had to do it by yourself.
I wouldn't be able to perform the analysis.
He couldn't
without
do
the,
it by himself, dude.
Did that in any way
He's not
cause any
trained.
delay?
No.
You know what? I talked over that a little bit, so I'm gonna rewind a
Any
little bit so
delay?
you guys can hear it.
No.
Task if you would have had to do it by yourself.
I wouldn't be able to perform the analysis without the 3D scanning.
Did that in any way cause any delay?
No.
Do you recall about what date you started the analysis?
I
Rounds.
He said around the middle of
Answer.
August.
I believe the 3D scanning took place on the early morning hours of, I want to say, August 10th. When I had Specialist Platt and Schmidt perform the 3D scan, they went back downtown early in the morning to try and do it when there was little vehicles as possible on the roadways so that it wouldn't interfere with the actual diagram scan. I want to say the last certification was obtained somewhere right around August 16th, and then it was putting everything together afterwards.
I'm sorry, did you state the last certification was obtained around August 16th?
The last training class, yes.
So at the time that you started, you weren't yet certified.
I had not started anything as far as the speed analysis prior to that.
Why would you be starting the prep for the analysis if you were not yet certified?
Objection.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
You just stated that the preparations to do the analysis started around August 10th. Is that correct?
The preparations by Specialist Platt and Specialist Schmidt as to the crime scene mapping was done on August 10th.
So when did you come into the fold to start doing your part of the analysis?
My part of the analysis originally began with just simply reviewing the video, learning what video would be best, what frames I would want to use, which I obtained my training from the National Computer Forensic Institute in video analysis in April of 2021, and went back through the same training through Input Ace and was already certified through them. So I was already certified for the video analysis portion of itself. The only thing I was waiting on was the materials necessary for the actual speed calculations.
And when did you receive those materials to do that part?
The certification was obtained on, I believe, right around August 16th. I can't remember if it was that day exactly, but...
But it is fair to say that you had already started work before the date of August 16th.
Objection. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
So when did you actually start to do the analysis? What date was that?
Same objection.
He just said it like.
Sustained.
Do you know about the date that you completed your analysis?
I believe it was somewhere around August 23rd, 22nd, 23rd.
So it'd be fair to say roughly about a week or so?
Roughly, yes.
And do you recall when you actually turned in the analysis information?
I believe it was around August 23rd, right around there.
Do you recall who you turned the announce this information into?
I turned it into my supervisor, who then electronically forwarded it to the Waukesha County District Attorney's Office.
Any idea how long it took for it to be viewed?
No, I do not know.
At the point that you started your part of the analysis, did you still need the help of the other two people from your department?
No.
So once you started, it was just yourself?
Yes.
And you were confident as you were fully trained, you wouldn't have any hiccups working this technology for the first time?
Correct.
You were pretty sure that you would get everything on point?
Yes.
No further questions.
Hey, redirect.
Thank you. The video in question from Bosco's Social Club was recorded during the Christmas parade on November 21st of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
You went to Bosco's in August to obtain that video, correct? Or I should say you obtained that video and then in August conducted your speed analysis with it, right?
Yes, that's correct.
August of 2022.
That's fair. August 2022. I stand corrected. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you were to clean slate, take that video file, start your calculations here today, would you come to the same conclusion in terms of miles per hour over those 26 frames?
Yes.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled his answer and I stand.
How's that hearsay? Okay.
The software that we're talking about is called Input Ace.
Correct. It started off Input Ace in, I believe it was the earlier part of this year, Axon. They also make tasers, body cameras, things like that. They purchased the company now. It's called, the software is called Axon Investigate. At the start of this, it was called Input Ace.
You're certified to conduct speed analysis using that software?
Yes.
This case is not the first time that you use that software, is that correct?
Correct.
Overruled. You asked him questions about that, so he gets to redirect. You may answer.
Correct.
You use the software to conduct speed analysis on prior occasions, right?
Yes.
As part of your training.
Yes.
Your training involves using the Faro 3D scanning tool, correct? Well,
No,
That was not
Why
stated.
are you testifying?
The answer. So rephrase your question, please.
sure. During your training to use the Input Ace software, did you follow the same procedure in terms of using the Faro 3D scanning?
Objection. That's hearsay.
Overruled. Not hearsay. Go ahead.
The procedures were the same, however, during training examples, throughout the country, there's different 3D crime scene scanners out there, Trimble, Leica, Faro, Total. They use various different ones during the training examples of what they had set up. The software worked similar, the methods were the same, regardless of which 3D scanner you use.
Okay. And as a result of that training and the multiple times that you used this software to conduct speed analysis, you obtained a certification, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you the first person to testify about speed analysis using the Input Ace software in any court in this country?
No.
Objection.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
So when reference was made during cross-examination about this being new, air quotes, software or new technology, is that an accurate description of the technology?
No, it's
Objection.
not.
I was referring it to it being new to him, strictly to
Your
himself.
objections noted. His answer may stand. Next question, please.
Is this this technology?
Now it's not even a matter of him like actually bringing up valid objections. Now he's just trying to prove that he has all the right answers and they don't. Like, no, he actually said the 22nd. All this, like, dude, you're being a little kid right
Software
now.
program Input Ace.
He's being a
used
child.
exclusively by law enforcement.
No, it's not.
Who else uses it?
Accident reconstructionist, insurance.
He wants us all to
companies,
see
defense
he's
attorneys,
smarter or
law
something.
enforcement. It's available to anybody that provides pay and that goes through the training. things of that nature.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You may step down. All right, this will be a good opportunity for an afternoon break. I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter, hopefully about 10 minutes for the jury and the parties. All rise.